Welcome back to ROK Vegas. DJ Clark, Rob Howden, and Jackson Lambros here in the commentary booth, ready to bring you along for the action in the afternoon. We've already got our first taste of what this track is going to race like, Rob. We've had a chance to talk to quite a few drivers, and the feedback is overwhelmingly positive.
Yeah, I think the big thing was they just love the racetrack first and foremost. We've been to tracks here. I've been here, as you guys know, for 20-something years at this particular facility at the Rio. Some of the tracks are great. Some of them are a little different, right? Everybody loves the racetrack first and foremost. And some guys are calling it the smoothest track they've ever had when they've been here. However it's laid out, it's between all the bumps, but the feedback from the drivers we talked to is absolutely fantastic.
No, absolutely. And again, I think it surprised a lot of people, DJ, on the overtaking opportunities. Yes, it's difficult and it's high commitment, but when you get it right, it is very, very rewarding for these guys to get the moves done. I think turn one has really surprised a lot of people, whether it's pulling a sneak on the inside, rolling that momentum around the outside, and setting up for that move into turn number two. A lot of places has really, really set up some really good moves.
The shifter guard guys feel the same way. We talked about a couple of the shifter guard guys, a couple of the Masters drivers, first and foremost. Talked to Massimo Valiente as well. Loves the racetrack, believes that you can make a pretty good pass at the end of the straightaway. It's not a super long straightaway. Most shifter cart drivers beg for that big, long straightaway.
Right.
I want to rip it in sixth for a while, then I want to stand on the brakes. But that corner, the way it sets up through 10 over to 11 and 12, you really are just going to throw the thing into the corner and not even turn and just drive it right to the apex of turn number 11. So we're going to see overtakes, I think, a lot at the end of the back straightaway.
Yeah, I think we are. And we haven't seen that play out nearly as much necessarily in practice, but I think as time goes along, drivers get a little bit more familiarized with this track. We will see it more. To your point, Jackson, turn 1, turn 8 has been the other one where we've been seeing a lot of moves be sent, and I love, love, love seeing that because it is such high commitment to get a move done there.
It's really interesting, too. We talked to a couple of the drivers in the paddock and about how much work they're doing. Hey, the track's going to be changing. We talked to Jake Drew, who says they've hardly made a change since they rolled the thing out on Wednesday, but he also said the track has changed drastically over the weekend, expects it to happen even more. We may hear the words tire deg coming up. We don't get that a lot, but with 3 heat races plus qualifying on that opening set of tires, he says that let's say heat 2, heat 3, he's going to have to potentially back off a little bit to make sure the tires will get to the end.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. Well, karts are headed out on track, and this is going to be ROK GP Junior. Saravia going to be on pole position, having won the first race. Then it's going to be Travis Pettit, Sarah Bradley, Edward Kennedy, and Teo Salamau. To me, Sarah Bradley's catch back up in that previous race, very, very impressive. Both her and Kennedy are two I'm going to be watching.
One of the things we'll throw out for some of the categories, you're going to kind of start where you started before. The other categories, it's progressive, right? So you're going to keep moving your way forward. If it's a class where you have the different groups, you'll start at the same place. Other tracks, other classes, which is the single run, you are going to move up. Wherever you finish your heat race is where you start the next heat race. So, again, you and I talked a lot about that, but the first heat race, don't make a mistake because you're going to get a bad result. You're also getting a bad starting spot for the next race. So it kind of piles on top of each other. You do not want to make mistakes in a progressive heat race approach.
No, you certainly do not. All right, let's get the afternoon underway. Scampering away is the flagman, and we are racing once more. Tight moves coming down into turn 1, and it looks like the field's going to filter their way out. Everybody through. Nope, not through cleanly. We've got contact. Big, almost track blockage.
Yeah, big, tough one there. Sarah Bradley got pumped from behind it. They got moved a little bit to the outside at turn number 1. That stacked everybody back up, and a bunch of drivers involved in that coming through turns number 2, that 2-3 combination. A number of Rawls Performance Group drivers were in there. Guys, I think probably 6, 7, maybe 8 drivers involved in that incident.
And this is exactly what we said. You don't want to do the same mantra from Heat 1 carrying on into Heat 2. Bring the cart back home and keep it towards the pointy end of the field. We are going to see, yellow flags are back away. So great work by the corner marshals to clean everything up.
Yeah, just quickly seeing drivers fall down the order. Jose Helfen and Travis Pettit, I believe.
Oh, man.
We saw a couple of the RPG suits. They're very vibrant, obviously, with the white and purple and pink. And both those drivers falling down the order now. Pettit, I don't think he's even crossed the line yet. So Halford and Pettit, likely 2 drivers involved at the start of heat race number 2.
Here's another RPG guy on the move. Royce Vega just getting that move done with Marcus Samet. That's for the bottom spot of the podium. But Leonardo Saravale out like a cannon, using kind of that early chaos to his advantage. No pressure behind so far from Sarah Bradley.
So much momentum for Saravale right now. Got a couple of pole position runs during qualifying. He's already got a heat race. Like everything's happening right now for this driver. And DJ, on a track like this, you want to have confidence in yourself, confidence in your machinery, your equipment. And when you're running up front like this, it kind of keeps flowing.
Exactly, and especially with somebody like Saravalle that's running in 2 different series here over the course of this weekend, to have it in both series, it just builds that confidence over the court. Isaac Malcutt, by the way, setting the fastest lap of the race with a 42.263. Look at that compared to Saravalle. Oh, as we've got another car up and over there, just getting over the side. That's the 238 machine, it looks like.
Gonna pick up that 238 here.
Nico Orbezo. Oh,
man.
Another one of our favorites potentially as an underdog in GP Junior. We see some moves a little bit further back. Look like one of the Orsilon machines. Theo Salamau making a move. Marco Samet continuing to drop back at this point, DJ.
Yeah, Samet just not looking like things are coming together here. Salamau moving his way forward. This is going to be working their way down into that area, lining up for turn 10, Rob.
One of the things to always remember, too, is when you have a run like we have the amount of laps we roll through a race here with the time, the 8 minutes of time plus 2 laps, you're starting off with very low tire pressure, right? Because you know that during the race, the tire pressure is going to come up, the heat's going to get to the tire. You want it really to come in, midway through the race, late in the race, when it really gets good. So the drivers are really challenged over the first couple of laps simply because the car's not good. That the tire pressure is too low, the grip level's not there. It just doesn't have the grip that you want. But that's when it's the toughest because you're wheel to wheel with so many drivers. It will stretch out over as the race goes on. But those opening laps is when you really need to take care of the car itself. Now we're going to start seeing these drivers really get into it. Who's got the speed? Tires are coming up to temp. We know the pressures are there. We're 4 laps in. This is when the drivers are going to start to like the car a little more than he did coming out of the gate.
Yeah, this is when that cart is going to be in the operating room, but no surprise here, Edward Kennedy, the fastest lap, being set down there in 12th position. Kennedy, one of those drivers that we always kind of have to keep our eye on a little bit. And Jackson, you can see everybody there on the back straightaway doing this sort of duck that we have become accustomed to in racing. Excuse me, I was on the front straightaway. They're wheeling the cart forward a little bit and also just trying to minimize that drag.
It's Caveman's DRS, baby. It's finding any way to punch as small of a hole in the air in front. It's taught early to these guys as we see some more movements further back. Isaac Malcutt, I believe, making a move there. That is up into, that might have been on Royce Vega.
Yeah, you build the momentum, or was it, I think it might have been Salameo first. Yeah, I think he got by Salameo, but I'll tell you this, the momentum that he built in the morning, Malcutt did, I feel like they're just dialing things in right now. He's working with Mike Doty Racing. We chatted with Mike very briefly in the paddock coming through there. Malcutt looked very strong this morning. And again, you need to build on your strengths. We talked about Jake Drew telling us how much this track has changed incredibly already since Wednesday. It's going to keep changing, Jackson, so you always have to be on top of it.
So let's talk about this really quickly because, again, maybe you're at 90% of what you're expecting on pace, what you're hoping for pace. What's the anxiety maybe of making that last little tweak to get full potential? Because I know a couple tweaks can make your car go a really, really far way forward, but a couple really bad tweaks can send you straight back to ground zero.
I think it comes down to you and your tuner who you're talking to, what you want to do, because some drivers are going to be able to, if you make a mistake and change a gear and all of a sudden you're in trouble, some drivers can drive through that. They can defend when they needed to. Again, we talked to Ben Cooper, who was going backwards midway through. He said something was wrong a little bit. He knew he didn't have the pace, so he started defending in the middle. That's a Ben Cooper thing. He can make that happen. Somebody maybe that's newer to the sport tries to defend like that. You may get run over. You may get guys going around you. You can roll the dice, Jackson, on trying that last little bit, maybe that last little tweak to a setup, if you know that you can overcome it if it's not perfect.
All right, we check back in on this battle for P2. Royce Vega, Sarah Bradley, Isaac Malcutt, and Theo Salamau up at the tail end of this battle. It is getting very, very fierce. Battle for 4-5, Malcutt and Salamau. Really, really tight here. Malcutt up 9 positions, by the way. He's having a great run in this race.
Again, what do we talk about from the get-go, right? Anytime you're in these races, all you want to do is move forward a little bit, especially in a category that's not broken up into the multiple heats, the different groups, because every time you're moving forward, that's where you're starting the next race. It's when you move backwards that you've made a mistake. So indeed, just a couple of spots every time. Yeah, you want more. I want 10 spots forward, but 2 or 3 every time, because the points you get from all your heat races are what stacks up to see how things work up for the main event. So it's always key to make sure you're moving forward and not backwards.
But look at this up at the front of the field from Leonardo Serradilla. Just absolutely dominant up there. I mean, that gap is 1.8 seconds, almost unheard of in karting terms.
Well, and listen, he's not the guy getting challenged at all, right? We talked about earlier today when you have somebody behind you, they're putting the pressure on you. So you can't really attack in the front if half of your focus is on the guy behind potentially defending. For him up front with clean air like that, open racetrack, and he's looked over his shoulder, he knows that there's nobody around him. Man, it's just like you're out for a cruise on a Sunday. It's just so absolutely perfect. That's what you want. Hit every mark. I don't have to defend at all. I'm just knocking things out, where the guy behind him, Royce Vega, is absolutely getting hounded by Sarah Bradley, and now Isaac Malkit in the game.
Yeah, Malkit trying to be able to put the moves on Sarah Bradley. There, Bradley looked at a little bit of an attack on Royce Vega. All of it coming back in, yo-yoing back and forth here. Is this just hotbed of activity for about P2 all the way back to P5, Jackson?
Jackson, look at it again. Pick up this quote quickly. Cole Medeiros, he set the fast lap earlier, set the fast lap again. Medeiros working his way up. He's only 0.3 of a second behind Marco Samet. He's in the fight here too. Medeiros, fastest driver on the racetrack.
He's already up 4 positions. Here's another look to the inside as Royce Vega finally going to lose that second place spot. Sarah Bradley, I believe, slipping on through. So our first shuffle, and again, this is kind of this forced coexistence at the front of the field, right? We all got to work together if we want to try to work our way to Leo, the 287. But all of a sudden, Sarah Bradley says, I'd like to lead this pack. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's a partnership until it's not a partnership.
Exactly.
Indeed. Sarah Bradley said it was my time to go. And we always talk about when you're second like that and you're maybe trying to chase down a leader or you've got a pack coming behind you, sooner or later you make that decision, hey, listen, I'm not here to push you anymore. I got to get out of harm's way. They're coming right now to get me. If you're not going to keep rolling and we can't pull away, I got to put you between me and them so I'm not losing spots.
A nice little move there by Teo Salameo. Really nice little pass coming into turn 8 on Isaac Malkut. Bradley continues to lead from Royce Vega. Salameo going to try to see with 3 laps to go if he's able to get a move on, but I've got to think Royce Vega has a little bit of something to say farther back. I think that was Marco Samet trying to take a little bit of a poke on Eric Doan.
Watching the tail end of this group, because we're going to keep having battles there. Really, if you look what we have through, you go all the way back to Cole Medeiros at the tail of the group. He runs an 8th spot. Then it's Edward Kennedy, who's up 4 spots. He's a 2.5 back from that battle. He'll need them to fight a lot more. But Cole Medeiros, the guy at the very tail end of this group right there in that 207, the Canadian with the fastest lap of the race so far. Let's see what Cole can do. He's got to go to work. He's in 8th spot right now. He's got 6 drivers in front of him. Even then further up, of course, to fellow Canadian Sarah Valley. He needs to start going to work. Only 2 more laps to go. He needs a couple more spots. He's up 6 already.
So again, this column on the right-hand side or on the right of the left-hand side of your screen, that's your fastest lap. And how about this? Leonardo Serradilla and Sarah Bradley dead even right now, both 41.643 apiece. So unfortunately, Bradley, despite being at the point of this, is not really getting a lot of help from behind, not getting a lot of pace to really close that gap. So question is now, when is that camaraderie going to be thrown out the window? There's only a handful of corners left. Do you guys want to maybe scrounge those extra points? Here comes everybody with a look to the inside.
Yeah, big block to the inside, DJs. They know that that white flag is flying, or probably last lap. They know it's here. They try to get that one more spot.
Yeah, just trying to gain every little bit they can. Not going to matter to Sarah Vega as he is going to take a victory. Sarah Bradley just holds out over Royce Vega. Taylor Salamao is going to be P4. Then Malakut, Eric Doohan, Marco Samet, Medeiros, Murphy, and Kennedy, your top 10. A very fiercely fought heat number 2 for the GP Junior category. Good stuff across the field, and you love to see that battle from about 2nd back to 8th.
Number of drivers going out now, just starting to come across the line. Big hurts for Travis Pettit, as we know. Jose Halfin, Pettit ends up in the 18th spot, Halfin in 20th. That's where they're going to start heat race number 3 tomorrow as well. That is not what you wanted to have happen. But if you look inside the top 10, DJ, some big movers. +6 for Royce Vega. Amazing for him. He's going to start on the inside of row 2 tomorrow in heat race number 3. +8 for Isaac Malkut. He's been on a charge moving forward. He goes from 13th up into the 5th spot, and 6 spots up for Cole Medeiros as well. 14th to 8th. There's a trio of drivers there that really have changed the way they're going to be looking at Saturday action.
Well, that was a little bit terrifying there. Yes, it is Halloween, and we would like to wish you a very happy and haunted Halloween from all of us here at ROK Vegas. We've got a couple of folks in costume wandering around. I can tell you that I darn near spilled my coffee this morning when I saw that clown. It was a very, very close encounter, but the only costume that these drivers out on track are going to be wearing are those helmets that they put on, and I can tell you it is a change of personality when they do come on. Some of the nicest kids out on the block you'll ever see. Helmet comes on, changes things around.
Well, Wagner's actually got a lid right now, so you could suppose he's maybe being Lando Norris for Halloween, but actually a Halloween costume contest going on later after we wrap up heats, so the Rocktoberfest festivities going to continue far into this night.
Yeah, they certainly are, and we are here at the Rio. For those of you who are just tuning in for the first time, there it is. Gorgeous, gorgeous hotel and views. I very much felt Old Vegas when I checked in yesterday. I dug it. I was fully on board.
Yeah, there's been a lot of races here, folks, at the Rio. You talk to a lot of people around the sport who have been here since this essentially parking lot opened its way up for karting back in 2002. But there you see the drivers have rolled their way in. Sarah Bradley there having a chat with Royce Vega. Sarah, a great run for her as well. Started third, finished second. So again, third in race number one. She's got a little spider web going on there, too. I like that little celebration there of Halloween. Yeah, she sees it. You're on camera, Sarah. We got you. But listen, two great results for Sarah Bradley. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah.
Third and second. Yeah, we'll take those, trying to see if we can't get ourselves to the top of the box on Sunday.
Yeah, I think that's a great result for Sarah, and really, really good position. You know, we talked a little bit this morning about just her pedigree and what she's been able to do and how much she's been able to do in a short amount of time. She is one that you've got to fold the page on a little bit and make sure you keep a bookmark on her.
Well, here's the thing, right? She's working her way up to her final year of junior racing. I can't wait to that transition to senior. She has been a driver we've watched for many years, won a bunch of big races, been on podiums in big races. She's a big race kind of girl, right? Mm-hmm. She'll step up when she's in the spotlight, does really well down here in Vegas, and she's just lining things up right now. Her and her Ryan Perry Motorsport crew, man, they're doing everything you need to do to be able to battle out with Sarah Valley. I like this right now.
Yeah, I do too. And I mean, Sarah Valley obviously has the momentum, 2 wins thus far in the 2 heat races. And that's a hard thing to try to fight back from, but at the same time, the rest of the field, you've got to think, okay, we know the person to beat. We know who we've got to go after now, and he's got a target on his back.
Well, so Sarah Valley can win all 3 heat races. Whoever, let's say Sarah Bradley gets another one, she ends up starting second. That's all obliterated on Sunday. It doesn't matter what you did in the heat races. It's all back to ground zero. So Sarah Valley can win all the heat races he wants, but everybody steps up and wants to battle him in the main event, right? So, yeah, he does have the momentum. I always wonder when you're the guy like that, when you go back, you talk about making changes. Oh, the car's so perfect right now. I don't want to change it. Knowing the track keeps changing, that's a tough place to be when you're running up front and you're pensive if you make a change to try to keep up with the racetrack.
Well, it's a flagrantly stealing analogy. It's the hardest thing in the world to be the coach of an NFL team during the Super Bowl and to go in at halftime and change what you've been doing if you're getting your butt kicked.
That's so true, yeah.
But, all right, we line up here for one of the cadet classes, ROK Mini, here Vegas, race number 2. Macha up in pole position, Nico Salazar, Santiago Orioli, then Lawrence Perriman and Joshua Wheeler, your top 5. Always fun classes here, always a lot of scrapping, I think is the right word to use.
Yeah, we'll see how things play out here right now. If the drivers get out here, it's going to be, I expect, a pretty good battle. Maxwell Macha looked very impressive in that opening heat race. Nico Salazar was right in there as well. Santiago Orioli was strong. He was a little bit further back, but moved forward. Lawrence Perriman was really one of the drivers we started watching as well, DJ. He stepped things up impressively, I think, in that first heat race.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. And we're going to have to see what shakes out now. I mean, now that you've got a race under your belt, you're going to feel a little bit more confident and probably a little bit more aggressive as things go along. This is, again, one of those progressive races that you will start in where you finish. So there they come to the line. Maxwell Macha leading things off, and they're going to get things going. Here we go into turn 1. Macha's going to be able to lead. Oh, big contact and a hop, skip and a jump. Somebody's into the outside.
Looks like the number 137 out of this one.
That's
here.
Wheeler.
Joshua Wheeler, the Canadian out, the crew trying to get to him very quickly as he noses it into the barriers coming on the exit of turn number 1. Out of the gate, though, we are back underway. The field looks good. Good streaming run. Who we have as a leader right now? The 174 of Maxwell Macha back out to the lead. And underway, opening lap. in the books.
And pretty straightforward here and pretty single file is this entire field. Macha, Orioli, Salazar, we believe. We'll have to wait until they cross over the start-finish line to be able to get the exact numbering as they come across. But a great start here from Macha to be able to control the front of this field. Luis Martinez actually able to get the jump and a big move around the outside. That's the 110 and the 154. That's Johnson and Asher Pavin.
We didn't get a chance to go through the whole field before we rolled them out there, but Koa Saito in the 160 starting at the back of the pack. An issue in post-race tech, rather, disqualified. That's tough for him, so he'll get that 23rd place finish. Plus, he's starting at the tail of the field, Saito, with a ton of work to do to get himself back forward. We'll keep an eye on him as he tries to work his way back through the field.
Yeah, but I've got to give credit here to Koa Saito. He will be able to move his way forward. I think we saw a lot of speed from that kart. Sounds like we do have a replay of that opening lap incident, so while it looks like it's relatively calm up at the front of the field, let's jump back to that, kind of take a look again at what happened, figure out exactly what went wrong there for Joshua Wheeler.
Keep an eye to the right side of the screen if you're watching at home.
Looks like a little bit wide, a little bit of contact there. I would call that an opening lap incident.
Yeah.
I mean, plain and simple.
Well, what happened, right? You're side by side. Maybe you have a bit of a touch, then you're off the racing line where it's still pretty dirty. At that point, you're full pin. You're holding on to the cart. You got it set. You're trying to roll it back around. Does it take much? And another driver just collecting there as well.
That may be the 112 of Jimenez. No, it's the 119.
Listen, this is one of the nature of these barriers. If you get into the barrier, you got to get out quickly. It's going to continue to want to suck you in. Indeed, just keeps getting. And the minute it grabs that right front tire and turns the wheel, it's over.
Exactly. It is not over, though, if you are Maxwell Macha up at the front of the field, holding off a brave attempt here from Santiago Orioli. Luis Martinez with a good jump up 4 positions. Asher Pavin up 7 since the drop of the green flag.
Hey, how about this one here? How about up, what do we got? Up 10. Christian Damianidis, that driver that we saw in the pole position, the family-run team, the privateer, up into 11th. Had the issue early on, got into the wreck in the first heat race. He started at the tail of the field. He's got himself back up to 11th right now.
Well, and let's take a look at another driver up 10 right now. That's Sofia Calderon up 10 as well. So really, really good runs. I think that is a prime example of drivers recognizing there is a problem in front of you and just being able to have that situational awareness to move around it in the right way. One
of the skills, maybe some of it's luck, some of it's not, but one of the skills here is that when you have opening lap incidents, you need to pick it your way through the chaos, because inevitably there's usually going to be some way to get through. You may not be able to get there, but if you have the luck and you have the visual, if you're looking up enough, you get through. You're going to get gifted with a bunch of spots early on. Well, it's what AJ Foyt always says, drive where the wreck is, and by the time you get there, the wreck won't be there. But speaking of that, let's take a look back at the replay here of Ivor Spence. I think we've got it spooled up and ready to go. I think, Rob, this was an issue where he just took it out to the outside a little bit too much. Maybe should have backed out of the throttle a little bit, that they were too wide. He was on the outside coming through 8, and a little bit of a touch with the driver on the side of him pushed him out. I think probably very similar to what we saw with Wheeler. You're on the outside, a little bit of contact. You're again, you literally have the cart on the outside tires. You are trusting the grip, and then that little touch knocks you off. And the minute he touched the barriers, that was it. Tough one, 100% for Ivor Spence. Want to give a shout out here. We mentioned him a few minutes ago. Koa Saito up into 11th position, up 12 spots, at this point. This has got to be the rebuild. This is where you've got to kind of settle in. If you are Koa, think about settling into this position, running around here, and then hoping you're able to get a similar jump in the race tomorrow. Yeah, remember, progressive, so wherever he finishes here is where he's going to start. So if he can get himself up in the top 10, then can fight in the top 5, no, he's not going to start in the top 3 or 4 rows. But if you even start in the top 10 rows, top 20, let's say he starts in the top 15, all it takes is some chaos early, and he can find himself back where he needs to be. But again, he needs 2 really strong recovery runs, currently running up into 8th right now. Great job for Koa in that number 160. Yeah, this is a really good run. And like we said, up 3 positions since we looked at it last. I mean, Koa's having a really, really good run here. Breakaway in the top 5, that's going to be Macha all the way back down to Johnson, but they're relatively separated out as they get going. Sounds like we've got a report down from Jackson Lambros in pit lane.
Yeah, guys, trouble for Nico Orbezo. That Red Speed machine unfortunately having a broken tire rod and is actually struggling to push that machine back. We've talked to the Texas kid all weekend long. Has been looking really, really strong.
And unfortunately, that is not the way we want to try setting up pre-finals tomorrow, DJ.
Oh, bad news to hear that.
Yeah, listen, it just compounds itself. You know, anytime you have the progressive nature of where you finish the heat race, where you start the next, when you have an issue, it just adds on to itself. That's why finishing these races, I remember when I raced the Super Nats, I was talking to one of the guys in my tent because said, Rob, I would rather you lose 4 spots at the end of the race because guys are able to slide by you than wreck and try to make a move and finish last. As long as you progress forward, it's going to be a net win. So that's the key. Where in a race like this, it's so crucial that you be smart, stay out of trouble, use the progressive nature of the heat to your benefit so you make sure you're there on Sunday.
Well, for Santiago Orioli here, who's got a little bit of a close-in on Maxwell Macha, I think he may be thinking about trying to play this as smart as possible, and I say that. We've got 2 laps to go. I think this is the now or never time if you want to make a move, but I'm going to be interested to see if Orioli is going to make a move. He's got the fastest lap of the race by a couple hundredths of a second, but he doesn't quite have the gap right now. It sits at about 2.5, 3 tenths.
Yeah, and he was about, I want to say he was 2 tenths quicker on that last lap, but let's see what happens here. Like you said, DJ, only a couple laps to go. They're going to come back onto the front straightaway here now, and we'll see that white flag. I'll tell you, Orioli is willing that machine to work his way forward. This time he was actually off by a couple of tenths. So Maxwell Macha able to find the speed he wanted there, only about a tenth and a bit slower than his fast lap, which came back on lap number 5 early in the race, a 45.709. Does a 45.837. Got himself about 4 cart lengths right now, coming out through over to turn number 8. Macha out front doing well. Driver's gone over the number 144 of Iker Alvarez. They crew right with him quickly. Not sure if that was a flip or not, but they were able to get him out of the cart and off the racetrack. Great job for the ROK Cup USA crew. But right now, DJ, it's all Maxwell Macha.
Yes, it is. It is all coming up. The 174 here as the checkered flag flies, and they will cross the line. And Santiago Orioli, he may have come in second, but based off that celebration, he was very, very happy with that. A big fist bump and a big swerve of the cart there. Up 4 positions. That's a good result for him.
Listen, that's exactly what he wanted to do, man. Keep knocking down. He's going to start on the outside of the front row for heat race number 3. Great job for Santiago Orioli. Macha with the win by 8 tenths of a second at the line. Martinez comes home in 3rd. Cameron Johnson +5 up into the 4th spot. You mentioned Asher Pavin. He goes up +6 from 11th up to 5th. Great job for him. Hudson Hidalgo 6th. Lawrence Perriman in 7th. Damianidis ends up in 8th. Benny Abdillah in 9th. And Nathan Ramirez 10th. What happened to Koa? Saito was up into 8th. On the last lap, he ends up in 17th. Horrible stuff.
Horrible, horrible stuff. I think he may have been involved in that incident that we saw.
Yep.
Let's go back and take a look at the replay here. It sounds like we've got it spooled up, so we're going to go back and take a look. Again, great response here by that team.
So what we're showing there, we'll go back and watch this again. Yellow flags were obviously out there. That is crazy. Look at this. He's in the middle of the racetrack. They get the cart off. Crew gets him over top of the barriers just as the next car comes rolling through. Shout out to the ROK Cup USA officials. Corner workers, that was fantastic. Wow.
That is how it is done. And again, thank you to ROK Cup officials. Yeah, I mean, we always say, oh, we want to give the credit to the marshals and all those, but that is in action what these guys and gals do out there.
And another example of why when you're telling these young drivers, and even the older driver, I don't care who it is, when you see a yellow flag, you need to lift a bit. Understand that something's happening. Around that corner, if another cars came through and not lifted, or potentially, that could have been more, could have been catastrophic actually. Instead, it was super safe. They got him off. When the yellow flag flies, you've got to slow up a little bit.
Yeah, very, very much so. All right, we get ready for the rest of the day here. Now that ROK Mini has been completed, we get down to Shifter Pro next. Then we'll head on to the VLRs. And then after the VLRs, that will be the Masters, Super Masters, and then the Junior groups A and C, B and D, and then Senior groups. We then head to ROK Micro, ROK Shifter Masters and Super Masters, and then ROK SV Pro will be at the end of the day. That's right, we'll be streaming here until about 5 o'clock or so. So I want to give you a big thanks for tuning in, or if you are, of course, here trackside, want to give you a big, big thanks. And we are very, very thankful that everybody is here. And, yeah, I think we were right about that with Koa. I think he may have been involved in that little incident.
Yeah.
And just maybe clipped a little bit of the barrier as a result of trying to avoid. But with the speed that Koa had, I'm very surprised that they're that far down.
Super tough that you have the DQ, and then you work your way all the way back up to 7th, and then you end up coming with another result down the order. It's going to be tough for Koa now to work his way forward. But there's Maxwell Macha. He's got the helmet on still. He's feeling good. Great stuff for Maxwell Macha, the man to beat. Let's head back down to pit lane as we've got Jackson down there with potentially our winner.
Yeah, guys, was able to catch up with Iker Alvarez, who is fortunately okay after that scary crash. Big ups to the ROK Cup USA Marshals for able getting to pick him up quickly, but went up and talked to Iker, asked if he could help and describe what happened. Don't think his English is too great, so just did the hand motion of the flip, but fortunately able to walk and might be back in the go-kart later, guys.
All right, good. That's what we want to see. That's what we want to hear.
100%.
First and foremost, that Iker was able to be okay and get up. You saw him kind of stumble there a little bit. Just a little bit of wobbly knees.
Not surprising.
Yeah. I mean, you get that adrenaline flowing through you. How many times have we seen in single-seaters or things like that, drivers get out of the car and just kind of collapse a little bit, not because anything is wrong, but because the equilibrium is just so shot.
True. Very true. But good to see Iker get up. And again, as we said, the ROK Cup USA crew there very quickly, making sure they took care of his safety. Now it's time to see what's happening here. Another Formula One style standing start coming for you here. It's our ROK shifters, the pro category coming out. The question right now is, does Adrian Redden have anything for Jacob Gulick? We saw a fantastic launch by Massimo Valiente in the start of heat race number 1, but Gulick was the driver up front. Again, everybody else dialing things in behind them to see if they can't find a little bit more. But Gulick, I'm sure, very happy after that race win this morning in heat race number 1.
Well, in a story that I'm going to be following really over the course of today, I think particularly in the rolling starts, but I'm interested to see if it carries on into the standing starts that we have in the shifter categories as well, is that outside lane seems to be at a disadvantage. The preferred line when you're at lower speed coming into turn 1 seems to be a little bit tighter, and it seems to really favor those odd-numbered positions. Gulick, Becklin, Pappas. We're going to have to see what happens and how that shakes out. Last little bits of burnout here before they get into that start zone and get ready for the standing start. It's going to be Gulick and Rendon ready to rip.
If you remember from the outside of row number 2, it was Massimo Valiente who got that big launch and just touched the left rear of Rendon. Otherwise, he may have got himself up into second spot. We were talking to him at lunch break, ready for another one of these great starts. 12 drivers set to go here. And again, the light system in play. The drivers will look up at the lights. Time to get things underway. Knock it into first gear. Green, green, green. And a good start for Valiente again. Look at this time. He'll go to the inside trying to pinch off Rendon. This is definitely going to help Gulick. He'll be able to jump away here a little bit. And indeed, Gulick takes the lead early. Clean and green through 1, 2, 3, and 4. And they'll work their way back now down into turn number 6 and 7. The big sweeping turn number 8. Watch for Rendon to make a move to the inside. Book it. He does. Parks on the apex. Look for Valiente now to get the run. Down to the bottom of the racetrack for Rendon. He defends aggressively. There's that move, they say, going right over into turn number 10, 11, and 12. Lining up. But there's the answer to your question, DJ. Adrian Rendon taking the lead from Gulick over in turn number 8.
Well, I guess any disadvantage on that outside lane can be overcome by talent and talent alone. And that's what Rendon has shown us here. But right now, he's got Gulick all over the back of him. But Gulick's got Valiente, Pappas, Becklin, Colbert. Everybody is just in a train behind him. And I think if you're Adrian Rendon, he is trying to stretch that gap as much as possible early on to buy himself some breathing room.
So the outside row, let's be real, those are the two drivers that made the most of it, right?
Yeah.
You had Rendon getting by Gulick, and then you had Valiente getting by Becklin as well, as Massimo Valiente now up into the 3rd spot. Mateo Pappas was in 4th coming across the line. Becklin, Colbert, Hargrove, Maldonado, Olander, Hermanson, Tidwell, and Greeny.
Yep, trying to be able to see if they can get anything here. Little bit of a slip and slide there from Rendon coming down through turns 3 and 4, but holds it well. Now down into 5. This is where the track kind of folds back on itself before they come through that little flick of 6 and 7 that then sets up onto the back straightaway here. Valiente carries some good speed through 6 and 7, but looked like he had to back off a little bit. They're going to come onto the back straightaway, and this is the corner We haven't seen as many overtakes here in the regular karts, but in the shifters, we have been told that may be the area to watch out for.
Indeed. One of the guys I talked to talked a little bit about the balance you always have in terms of how you gear, right? Do you gear for the tight stuff or do you gear for the long straightaways? If you gear for the tight stuff, you're on top of everybody, but they're going to pull you on the straightaways. Who I talked to was telling me, well, it's kind of a weird, this track is, it doesn't matter what you stack on it. If you give up some in the straightaways, you're going to get it back. It's almost even Steven. So even if you're throwing different gear at it, it's not going to give you more of what you thought. A lot of the times, you know, if you try going either way, it's going to hurt you in a big way. It seems just the way this track is laid out, the flow that it has, it doesn't really matter that much right now.
Jacob Gulick in the flow right now. Got some good pressure under the back of Adrian Reneden. Missed the battle for P1. Valiente also under some pressure here from Cooper Becklin. They fly down into turn one. Gulick, to prove my point, sets the fastest lap of the race by a couple of hundredths of a second, call it 300ths. A little bit of a slide there coming through turn 5. He's going to hold it together. Now through 6 and 7 they go. Or excuse me, down into 8 right now into 9. Starting to be a little bit of couplets up at the front of the field with Reneden and Gulick and then Valiente and Becklin.
Yeah, we saw that, right, in heat race number 1 where it was Gulick leading, Reneden running in second spot. They seem very, very evenly matched. I think more of anything right now, we're seeing that Valiente has kind of dialed it up a bit, found a little bit more pace. He's not quite as far back as he was, obviously making some changes. And when we talk about tire pressures being tough early on, I talked to Massimo. He thinks they went maybe a little low on tire pressure to the point where it just really wasn't good at the start and never got to where it needed to be. They were never quite there. So a little tire pressure adjustment, maybe go up a little bit. It's going to be better at the start, and ideally, it'll be better at the finish as well. Currently running in the 3rd spot. Valiente would love to potentially move over to the inside of row number 1, getting that better, or number 2, getting that better jump and maybe able to fight his way into second or even the lead when we go into the second heat race.
Yeah, but he's going to have to really, really watch his proverbial rear view mirrors here with Cooper Becklin, who just looks like he's kind of poking and prodding. It is the flip of what we're seeing from Jacob Gulick. Gulick looks relatively content to just stick in the line behind Reneden and hold on to that. But with Becklin, I'm seeing a little bit more of eagerness to get by.
If you think you have the pace to go get the guys out front and you're with that guy in front of you, you're like, listen, hold on. I got to get by this guy now. I'm going to start getting more aggressive. I think I've got the pace to run up front. At that point, you'll see that with many of the different series that we cover throughout the sport. That when you start getting anxious, like he's all over top of Valiente now. He's going to start getting a little bit anxious. That patience we talk about is going to start to wear thin. He's going to try to find a way by. But DJ, let me throw this out here as well. I love when I see stuff like this. So 5 different drivers in the top 5, all on 5 different chassis as well. Sodi kart, GFC, Italian Motors. It is Becklin on the LN kart and Matteo Pappas on the Burrell Art. So fantastic to see different models, different manufacturers represented in the top 5 here in the ROK Shifted Pro class.
Doesn't matter what racing series you're in. If you've got multiple chassis and multiple manufacturers, you want to see this kind of parity. It's what everybody aspires to, frankly. But right now, it does look like Becklin's lost a step. Maybe just was a little over-eager, overcooked a little bit into a corner. Starts to gain back up into turns 1 and 2, but not quite there yet.
Yeah, lost a couple of tenths of a second on outright pace on that lap to Valiente. It was a 39.7 for Reneden, 39.7 for Gulick, 39.9 for Valiente. He's still missing those 0.2 of a second that he was kind of back there in heat race number 1. So they'll keep tuning on that ITAL kart. They'll get it ready to go. His dad, Michael Valiente, as I believe has won actually on this particular parking lot as well a number of years ago. Valiente, of course, would go through to the Atlantic Championship, became a driver in the sports car ranks as well. So Michael, of course, with the family running their track up in Sumas, Washington, the SEMA facility, and Italian Motors, the shop as well. It's been around for a long time. In fact, my magazine I started, Shifter Kart Illustrated, Michael Valiente was the first ever cover back in 1998. So I hate to date Michael right now, but yeah, that was 27 years ago. But nonetheless, Reneden and run out front nicely here now.
Yep, all right, we're checking back in on the battle for the lead. Reneden and Gulick right now. Up at the front, trying to hold on in. Now it looks like Gulick kind of, that battle has switched a little bit. I said Becklin was the one looking a little eager to get his way forward. I think Gulick's had enough of waiting around. He's pushing ahead.
Well, he's trying to make a statement here right now. We talked about he's qualified on the pole. Won the first heat race. Rendon got him early. He needs to come back and get him again. He needs to assert the dominance here right now. You know these guys are going to battle it out once we get to the main event on Sunday. But as they're running right now, I think Gulick would like to keep this going. He wants another race win. He wants another pole position start. He does not want to let Rendon have that kind of pace. So indeed, he'll look to the inside a little bit here. Still being very patient. Rendon holding the spot, coming through 10, 11, and then back to 12 and over to 13. Big sweeping left-hander here. The shifter car drivers we talked to really like this layout here. More of a kind of a Bristol layout, we'll call it, because it's a short track. This isn't one of those big, 60-second, 70-second tracks that they often run. This is a bull ring at under 40 seconds. So this is all about coming to Vegas, battling it out, elbows up. That's what we're going to see throughout the weekend. But indeed, Rendon and Gulick seem to be the two that we're going to see battle for the race win here this weekend.
Yes, they will. And as we continue to watch these battles and they percolate, we throw over once again to Jackson Lambros. Hold on, we got to hold on that 1 second because here comes the move. That is Gulick, Rendon and Gulick going at it, hammer and tongs down through the corners. And they're going to come out the same way they did. But now what was 2 couplets is now drawn into 4. 2 laps to go. Jackson, we throw over to you quickly.
Well, just some food for thought, guys. Again, Adrian Renardon's first time ever on this style of barrier racing and has taken to it like a natural. Has done phenomenal so far defending this GFC behind of Jacob Gulick, who has plenty of Vegas starts under his belt. But again, very quickly, guys, you get the feeling this is going to be your top 4 throughout this weekend.
Couldn't agree with you more on that, Jackson, as now we've got to see. I think Massimo Valiente may have a little bit of a run here for P2. So he's starting to close in. Rendon may have a little bit of breathing room if that's the case. They're coming to the white flag right now. Rob, it is all to play for.
Yeah, with just a couple laps to go, Gulick was right there to potentially try to make it happen over in turn number 10, 11, and 12. Couldn't quite make it stick now. Being challenged from behind from Valiente, who's being challenged by Becklin as well. Top 4 drivers last time by, separated by less than 0.8 of a second at the line. They're on top of each other right now. Valiente's got to worry about Becklin. And of course, Gulick got to worry about Valiente. I don't think he's close enough to make a move. Unless he throws one down the inside here, not quite. Rendon parks it though, slows it up a little bit coming in. Wanting to see if he can't back up Gulick into Massimino, rather to Valiente. And again, not enough. A new winner. But all 4 drivers coming across the line. Just as you and I were talking about, maybe this was going to be a Rendon and Gulick show. Valiente and Becklin show back up on the scene again. So Adrian, Jacob, Massimo, and Cooper all very strong here at the end. Their fast lap times very similar as well, to within 0.05 of a second. Let's not count out Valiente and Becklin quite yet.
No, I don't think we can. And I think the pace, not only, yes, they were able to catch up as a result of that battle between Rendon and Gulick, but the staying power that we saw from them. When they got there, it wasn't like they fell off immediately. They were able to stick right there and stay with them. And that really made all of the difference as they go. As it looks like here, we're getting ready. I think our very own Jackson may have a little bit of an interview with us down on pit lane.
Trackside here with Adrian Rendon after a first temporary track victory. You were joking with me here. It's hot out there. It's clearly physical for you. Talk to me about what those feelings are physically for you on the track.
Yeah, physically it's quite hard, and I think the most hard is to don't make mistakes, so you are always on the limits because they are pushing behind me for sure. So I try my best to don't make mistakes. I struggle a bit at the end, but I'm happy for the win.
We talked a couple days ago about just how dynamic this style of racing is, how dynamic this track has been. How much has it changed even since yesterday night or this morning out there for you?
Since yesterday, I think we win almost 5/10. So the track is quicker. We need to adapt the setup to the track and also with the chassis. But with the team, we work well for the final.
Thank you.
Thank you.
DJ.
Thank you, Jackson, our man on the ground, able to get those good stories. And yeah, I think that's going to be a big storyline here, Rob, that we talk about over the course of this weekend. We're here in a very chilly booth. We're on with jackets, and we're making sure we're cool. But we're talking about some pretty hot track temperatures out on track. I mean, it's 80 degrees, I think, is the high today, and that is Las Vegas heat. That is desert heat that you are definitely going to feel.
And normally when you're racing a fall event here in Las Vegas, you're expecting cooler temperatures. You know, it's the the desert style where it's very cold. at night. It warms up during the day, so you're pulling layers off, you're pouring layers back on as you roll into the evening. But some impressively high temperature this weekend. 81 degrees here trackside right now. That's likely what we're going to see throughout the weekend, maybe even a little bit warmer. So yeah, very different conditions that we would normally have here for a Las Vegas event. But as Adrian said, man, it's his thing. For one, you can't make a mistake here. You're being pushed like crazy from guys behind you. If you make a mistake, there's no offs. You're into the barriers. So not only is it physically demanding, it's also mentally demanding as well. It's one of the things I've always kind of leaned towards when you're talking about a parking lot race like this or a temporary circuit race. Your focus is on making sure you don't make the mistakes. You have to be always absolutely perfect. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself in trouble.
Well, speaking of absolutely perfect, we're going to talk to a driver who, well, didn't exactly have a perfect race earlier today, but he's got a perfect career lined up ahead of him. That, of course, is Alessandro Di Tullio. We were able to catch up with him earlier today.
Alessandro Di Tullio, you have won numerous times here on the junior platforms. What's it going to take to get it done here in SV Pro?
Yeah, in the SV, I think since every engine is pretty similar, according to what we're seeing right now, everything is sealed, obviously, as everyone knows. Working on the driving, working on the chassis, so it's going to take a little bit of fine-tuning and being on top of, just hitting your marks and being smooth.
I know you've been kind of throwing a curveball here with one of your teammates being injured. Talk to me about this mental adaptation really quickly of finding out you're going to be double duty now and going in between 100 and 125 cc's.
Yeah, it's a bit unfortunate. My teammate had to get off because of an incident on track in practice, but yeah, I got told to do both, so just got to put my head down and try to win both.
Let's talk about this adaptation because, again, we're comfortable seeing you making that move up to open wheel formulas this year, but the first thing a lot of the kids I've talked to said about jumping out of a pro kart, getting into F4 or USF, it feels slow. Was it the same for you, and what is that mental adaptation like, kind of getting back into a pro kart? Yeah,
the thing is, like in a go-kart, you're so low to the ground and the walls are very close, so it feels just quicker. Tracks are smaller. In a car, everything's bigger. You have longer straights. There's runoff, so everything looks a little bit slower. In reality, when you look at the mile an hour, no. But yeah, karting is. I think it's super difficult. It's definitely not easy. As neither is a car. Each of them have their own little things that you got to do right on both the driving and setting up the car versus the go-kart. So yeah, it's quite a bit different, and some adapting needs to be done. Like yesterday, my first 2 sessions, I had 2 junior kids, well now seniors. Right. Vanchev, I think it was mostly Turner was giving me some shit of my driving, and I was like, yeah, I need more downforce. So yeah, it's definitely something you need to adapt to when you come back into a go-kart.
So obviously a lot of challenges for Alessandro, but we've seen you throughout America this year. This is not going to be something you can't overcome. So great to talk to you this weekend. Best of luck to you, my friend.
Thank you.
Alessandro Di Tullio.
Well, as we said, that is a young driver with a very, very bright future ahead of him here, Rob. But we turn to drivers who, well, still have a bright future, but it may just be a little bit of a shorter future than we're used to. We head to the Masters and the Super Masters for ROK VLR.
Yeah, one of the coolest things about this race, of course, in addition to the Super Masters 45 years and up class coming in, is that 45 years category, the Super Masters, brought in some of these old superstars that won so many Masters championships over the last couple of years. Some of these guys are 15 years away from the last championship they won back when they were running primarily national level racing. So we're seeing so many great drivers here. Guys like Paul Bonilla, Eric Jackson, Tim Meyer. But up front right now, Renato Jader David, one of the best Masters drivers in the world. He'll start on pole alongside Ben Cooper, row 1. Kyle Hayner had a good run there in the opening heat race. He'll go to 3rd alongside your fast guy in Super Masters, Scott Falcone. Mario Barrios and Laurent Mardana on row 3. Eric Molinati and Charlie Fonseca, row 4. Tim Meyer and Miguel Mir on row number 5. Zhu, Jackson, Dalbon, Din, Redlin, Alfonte, Nessier, Wallace, Molina, all right behind as a great field of drivers is set to go. Lights out and we're on it. Green, green, green. Watch yourself coming into the opening kick there, boys. They'll work the way around the outside, DJ.
And the Masters get through cleanly. Looks like some of the kids could use a few lessons from these drivers. As up at the front of the field, David does hold on to it. Oh, I take that back. That may be Hayner that was just able to take it away from it.
Yeah, Kyle Hayner dropping the hammer early. He'll go to P1. That's going to stack everybody up behind him. Jadr David works his way into the second spot very quickly. Some changes made to the car of Ben Cooper. He and I talked a lot about that. He actually ragged me for not being in the Super Masters race. He figures it was made for me, although I'd still be, 12 years older for that category. But he did say they were making a bunch of changes, not just one. They were going to make a gear change, a jetting change. There's a couple things he wanted to do to the kart. Ben's going to find out real quickly here, 3, 4, 5 laps in, whether those changes were good enough. But look at this lead group right now. We don't have a breakaway at all, stacking up behind Kyle Hayner.
No, it is one long train here, and it looks like Kyle Hayner's going to be under a little bit of pressure. No, make that David under a little bit of pressure from Ben Cooper. Stack up there coming through turn 8. And now as they get their way through turn 9, that fast, flat-out chicane leads onto the back straightaway. Nobody poking their nose into turn 10. Again, that's going to be a little bit more of an area on the shifter carts where you see those overtakes. And now as they come on back to the main straightaway, keep an eye here on Ben Cooper, third car in line. Nope, he's not going to do it, but I'll tell you who thought about it. That was Martin, almost down to the inside of Scott Falcone.
Yeah, Laurent to Martin in the Technokart USA entry, putting the pressure on Scott Falcone. Falcone still leading the way in the Super Masters category, 4th. Miguel Mir 7th. Eric Jackson 8th. Mario Barrios 9th. And Tim Mayer in 12th. That's the top 5 in the Super Masters category. Falcone right in there trying to hold on and push his way up by Ben Cooper. But you're right. Laurent Tumardin had a good look to the inside of Falcone. Wasn't quite enough, though.
No, it wasn't quite enough. But again, that's that experimentation that we love to see in these heat races. Drivers just poking and prodding, trying to find the area of where their competition is going to be weak. Look behind there for David. He's going to check behind him. Now he's going to look ahead. Thought about a move on Hayner. Decided not to go for it. Now watch Cooper. Oh, notch, but David, brilliant move, and Cooper's going to follow him on through.
Oh, might have been a little bit of contact coming out of turn number 5 there. Ben Cooper doing a better job on the over-under. He saw what was going on as they enter that corner side by side. Falcone thinks up into the 3rd spot. Where did Hayner go to? All the way back to 5th. There may have been some contact on the exit of turn number 5 that checked up Hayner a little bit. Here comes a move to the inside as well. Book it. Back to the inside comes Jadr David. He throws it to the inside to hold the spot as they come through 11, 12, and 13. Some early action here. Long way to go. Only 3 laps into it. And here in heat race number 2, the Master and Super Masters drivers have their elbows up.
And that was Charlie Fonseca taking a little bit of a move. Martin taking a little bit of a move as well down to the inside. Now he's going to have to play defensive from Hayner. Those two are going to have to scrap it out. Meanwhile, at the front of the field, and there you see them. That's David and Ben Cooper. Cooper here. There is a fierce scrap going on. I think that's around Mir, Jackson, Barrios, but they've been side by side for about the 3rd of a lap.
Yeah, they're watching what's happening in front of them as well, right? As well with Fonseca and Hayner. They're right there. Miguel Mir, former Texas champion as well in this Masters category. So this guy knows how to win races. Miguel was my teammate when I ran with Rawlson here at the Supernats a couple of years ago. Very talented driver. Looked over a lot of his data when we were there that weekend as well. Helped me out with a bunch of stuff. So many guys this lead group here can win. There's no doubt about that right now. But again, up front, we're seeing this battle between Renato Jadr David and Ben Cooper, the 2 drivers, DJ, who've gone back-to-back on this particular category here at Rock Vegas.
Yes, they have, but I think they've got to keep an eye in their periphery here because Scott Falcone, much like as he did in this first race, is not going anywhere. The 99 close in behind. We've got a car off into the barriers here. Can't get an ID on the car number.
One of the RPG drivers, that's for sure. Try to get a number on that when they come back around. See who's falling. That's a 767. He's falling down to the tail of the field here. One of the regular Masters drivers. Oh, Mingyan Zhu.
Yeah. I hate to see that. I had a chance to chat with him earlier today. He was very optimistic about what he was feeling in the karts and was feeling good about everything. But he is obviously going to be out of this. He'll have to start at the back tomorrow morning. Meanwhile, up at the front of the field, Scott Falcone starting to fall back into the clutches here of Laurent Tumardin. maybe not quite able to get as close as David and them. So we're going to go right now over to Jackson Lambros, who's got an update for us.
Yeah, guys, frustration for the 721 CRG. That's Cantu, who was not happy with how the 17 has been driving him, not just this heat, but the entirety of the day, and was clearly frustrated. Asked him if he'll be okay to keep going tomorrow. He said, tomorrow's a new day, guys.
Well, that's the best attitude that a driver can have. We often talk about how drivers have the memories of elephants, but in reality, you want to have the memory of a goldfish when it comes to driving.
Now, one thing you're seeing here, if you've never watched a race from Las Vegas before, sometimes they have a sunset break, because as the sun comes down, it's going to go behind the Rio, and eventually the sun's going to be right in the driver's faces, but you're going to start seeing that shadow. When they come through turn 6 and 7, watch when they come back around. All of a sudden, that shadow comes back down, and when you have that shadow, you're going to start losing heat in that part of the racetrack. The sun's not beating down on it. It always changes the way the track runs, just a very slight bit. But you'll watch this. So they come back through 5. We're going to go through the 6-7 combination. Now watch the shadows are going to come through here. Right into the whole part of this corner here is coming through turn. It's now all under shadow. It's going to change a little bit on that racetrack. The grip level is going to be down a little bit, not a lot. But again, especially with the temps we have here, in colder temperatures, it's going to fall even more. But that sure could be a little bit interesting as well. When they come back around out of turn number 13, they're going to be looking right into the sun going into turn number 1.
Yeah, that's going to be particularly difficult. I don't think we have a sunset break scheduled here today. So
we're just doing it.
Yeah, going straight through it. And sunset does look like it's supposed to be a little bit later on in the day, so I think we've actually been able to get away with it.
It's just more where it comes in with the buildings. So the sunset's not, it's set behind the buildings and kind of right in your face as you're coming in that direction. But yeah, it's we'll see how it plays out. It could make a bit of a change for some drivers, but again, same for everybody. You just got to drive through it.
Exactly. And nothing will be as bad as the sun late in the day at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
That's pretty tough.
Oh, it's the worst. But anyway, Jedder David up at the front of the field right now, still holding off Ben Cooper, Falcone, Marden, Hainer, and Fonseca. We haven't really seen a change in these top 6, coming down to what I'm going to anticipate being the last 3 laps that we will see, as they'll cross over the stripe here with about 38 seconds left on the clock. 3 laps indeed.
Scott Falcone's getting challenged pretty aggressively here by Lauren Mardan. They run 3rd and 4th. Hainer in 5th. Charlie Fonseca 6th. Miguel Mir 7th. Mario Barrios 8th. Eric Jackson 9th. And Paul Elefante rounding out the top 10. But I'll say this. We talked to Ben Cooper about the changes they wanted to make in the kart. He just said it wasn't good. Halfway through, he couldn't run with those guys. That's why he was defensive early, trying to do whatever he could to hold on to a good spot. They made changes, and apparently they were the right ones. And normally they are coming out of the Rawlson Performance Group camp, especially with a guy like Ben Cooper. He knows what he wants out of a car. He understands kart dynamics. Of course, he understands driving better than many as one of the top driver coaches in the sport. But whatever he did, DJ, it's working because he is right there with RJD.
No, there was a big look from Mardan on the back of Falcone. My question here, though, with Cooper is I'd be interested to talk to him later today, see if at this point in the race he's settling and learning what the kart's going to do with those changes that they made wholesale to the kart, or if he tries to make a little attack here just for kicks and grins.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he tried to attack for the race win, but the guys at that level who have won Rotax World Championships like he has, who have won big races, who have won at Supernats, who have won here. Obviously, as we know, you look back at the resume here. He is the defending champion of this race. He also won the year before, so this guy knows how to get it done in this category. RJD knows how to win as well, but they're picking up feedback all the time. Where some of the Masters drivers like myself, who don't get a lot of chance to race, we're elbows up trying to make sure we stay out of the walls. He's every lap, every corner, he's just stacking that up in his mind. How did it feel here? How did it feel here? I was right behind him here. I gave myself a little more room to get maybe a little more aerodynamic wing over the over the front of the car a little bit. They're able to play with airflow. These guys know exactly what they're doing. Ben Cooper among the absolute best. Final lap, though. It's time to go to work.
And here he comes, taking a move down to the inside of David. Brilliant stuff. And David had to get way off the pace. That's going to cost him 1 position to Scott Falcone as they come around the corner. Absolutely brilliant move from Ben Cooper. You called it there, Rob, and that is exactly what happened. Ben Cooper, Scott Falcone, 2nd place in the Supermasters category, and David in 3rd.
Ooh, there's Ben Axel right there. Contact with the number 33. That's not going to be good at all. Did he get across the line? Oh, that's Tim Meyer.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know that Tim got across to get the lap in. That was on the final circuit. Tim Meyer got into a barrier somewhere, and is falling down the order.
Oh, you
Whoa.
hate to see that,
Yes.
especially on the last lap like that. It's just absolute heartbreak there for Tim. But there we check back in on that grid, and there is Ben taking the helmet off. There is Jackson down there ready to talk to him, and there's the smile.
Well, you saw what happened there, too. He made that great move to the inside, and Renato got hung out to the outside a little bit, and he was way out of the racing line, and they both know it. Falcone able to take full advantage of that. But what a good drive for Ben Cooper. The smiles are probably for the win, and partly because, man, whatever changes I made, they were right. I definitely got the job done.
Well, let's head down to Jackson Lambro so you can maybe find out a little bit about those changes. We head down to him now.
Let's chat really briefly. Your heat winner in VLR Masters, Ben Cooper. We're even on the score now, and you versus Renato. Talk to me about that.
But to be honest with you, I didn't expect to take the lead at all. He didn't need to defend on the last lap. I was hanging on. I was really hanging on. It's kind of how I felt all weekend, with hanging on in there. And the fact he defended the last lap gave me that opportunity on the straight. I knew it was sketchy because we've seen a few from the team that have overtaken down the inside there, and you struggle to hang on. And I know me and him were both close to going in the wall, but a famous driver once said, if you don't go for a gap, you're no longer a racing driver. So we've got to go for it, and it brings it tied. But I have a lot of work to do. We don't really have the pace to win right now.
We talked about that a little bit earlier, you, me, and Rob, and you're still on the tools, clearly working on some stuff. What's starting to click for you, though, so far today?
Well, today, to be honest with you, the biggest thing we've been learning today. Over the last couple of days, we've had several problems. The first 3 practice sessions, I never got a lap in. Warm-up yesterday morning, we didn't get a lap in. So real first session in anger was kind of qualifying. At least today we've learned. We've tried things. We know what's working. We know what's not working. What we tried there definitely didn't work. So we'll be going back the other direction for tomorrow.
Thanks, Ben.
Thank you.
First win of the weekend for Ben Cooper, guys.
And a good win at that. And again, one of my favorite things about working in any karting group is the camaraderie that we see. That high five, the slap on the back, the smiles that you see down on the tech grid there. It's a special place to be.
A lot of insight there, folks, from Ben Cooper, talking a lot about his race there and kind of the whole weekend he's had so far. This guy's had a pretty good weekend as well. He ends up finishing, third on the racetrack, leader in Super Masters. Jackson stands by with Scott Falcone.
So a guy we were going to be on the Supermaster podium, a big favorite that has found his way onto the overall podium now in our multi-class madness. Scott, you're sweating a lot. It's clearly physical out there. Kind of share with us just how gnarly it is out there for you.
Well, first of all, don't jinx me like that. Okay, Sunday's all the thing that matters. Sunday. All this other stuff's just getting ready for Sunday. Yeah, it's great. The track's coming in, the grip's coming down. These guys are fucking good. Excuse my language, but they're really good. So it's just fun to race with all these good guys.
Apologies for that, but I've joked with Rob earlier on that I've covered a lot of regional races so far this year. I don't think there's been a single weekend where I haven't seen you. Talk to me about just the prep that's gone on for you, both on and off track for this weekend.
32 pounds with Chris G and some guys at home, so we did a lot of work there. It's really changed my driving style too, having the mask on. It's a big deal. So I'm able to drive the go-kart like it's supposed to be driven, in my opinion. So we've tuning it totally different, so I'm getting used to how my body's changed for the go-kart as well.
Thanks, Scott.
Thank you.
Scott Falcone proving, Rob, that old guys rule.
Yes, old guys rule, 100%. My teammate at Precision Performance Karting on a Coyote at the Cup Karts North America Grand Nationals a couple of weeks ago. Scott Falcone's lost over 30 pounds. And I'll say the thing about Scott, he wore a lot of that weight up top. It was all upper body. You'd see pictures of him, he was just massive. That much upper body weight, you understand racing dynamics, DJ. The center of gravity is so high. In the corner, it's rolling over. He's lost all that. He's trimmed down so much. He's worked on the strength to put himself where he is right there. So all that work paying off. And I will unjinx you, Scott Falcone. No podium until Sunday. We're not going to talk about that. You're looking fantastic. But again, great job for Scott Falcone there. And indeed, having fun here this weekend. Lots of work to be done still. Let's not talk too much about podiums yet because it's a long way to go before we get there. rolling in now again for the first of two VLR Junior heats, Group A versus Group C. DJ Leonardo Serravalle going to try to keep the momentum rolling here. He starts on pole alongside Theo Salomeo, and then it's Cole Medeiros and Edward Kennedy on row number 2.
Yeah, Nixon Ellsworth, Sebastian Hauser, Braden Wagner, and Valentino Santillan making up the rest of your first 4 rows. Steinbrook and Ferguson, your first 5 rows. All right, let's see what they've got. This is Groups A and C out on the track, so they haven't squared off against each other yet. We're going to set them loose here and see what they can do. Flagger gets out of the way, and we go racing. Brilliant getaway there from Serravalle, and that is going to be a good start. Medeiros is going to tuck in line, and it looks like the field is through turn 1 cleanly.
Yeah, it's that when they start going 3 wide coming out of turn number 1 is when I worry about getting back through 2 and 3, but so far doing a pretty good job back through 3 and 4, turn number 5, and away we go. Cleanly through 6 and 7, through the shadow of the Rio as they come back out through that turn 9, right, left. 9 corner, could call it 9 and 10, but we'll just call it turn number 9 here as they kind of go right, left through that corner, leading all the way down into turn number 10, breaking into the turn 10, 11, 12 complex. Big sweeping run to the left around through 12 and 13, back on the straightaway for the first time, and there you have it, a couple of Racing Edge Motorsports carts, first and second, Leonardo Serravalle and Cole Medeiros. The 2 Canadians run 1-2. Salamayo into 3rd. Edward Kennedy 4th. Hauser drops back to 5th. Steinbrook up into 7th. Ellsworth, Santillan, and Wagner 8th, 9th. And then Troy Ferguson gets a couple spots, move Ferguson up into the top 10.
Yeah, Steinbrook actually up 3 positions, so
nice.
A good run there for him. But right now, Medeiros just trying to put a little bit of pressure onto the back of Serravalle, seeing if there can be anything. I don't know if that was a defensive move or an offensive move there between Salomeo and Kennedy. We'll wait until they cross over the stripe again, but that's really broken off into a 3-car fight between Salomeo, Kennedy, and Hauser. They'll come back across the line right now, get an idea on what that was. Kennedy did make that move and set the fastest lap of the race in the process, but that was immediately taken away from Braden Wagner.
I would say, based on Racing Edge Motorsports, I've known Kevin Monteith since he was a young lad. I had a race for him myself. He sat these 2 drivers down and said, listen, we've got good pace together. We're not going to beat each other up right now. If you guys get to 1-2, push away. This is when the 2 teammates can work together. Yeah, you're going to see a white flag sooner or later. You can race at the white flag. Now let's see if we can't pull away. We want a Racing Edge Motorsports locked down to the front row for the main event. So let's work together, do what we can. They got fellow Canadian Edward Kennedy rolling in here as well. But indeed, good stuff here for Serravalle and Medeiros.
Yeah, they're going to try to hold on because it looks like Kennedy is coming on strong. 43.6 the last lap. That's about 0.2 of a second faster than Medeiros or Serravalle. So let's see if Kennedy gets aggressive here to try to get by the 8.07 of Medeiros. Not seeing anything quite yet, but he's maybe lining up the move down through turn 8. Got a good run through there. Now it looks like advantage switches back over to Medeiros as they come onto the back straightaway. Kennedy not going to have the opportunity to make an attack, but that doesn't mean he's not going to make it quickly.
DJ, I'm always really leery when a guy comes out of the gate super strong over the first couple of laps. We talked about the fact that when their tire pressures are low, they shouldn't be that good over the first couple of circuits. If somebody's that much faster over the first couple of laps, as there's a pass from Medeiros, he'll make the move to the inside, book it. Cole Medeiros goes into the lead in turn number 1. If you're too fast early, I think you might have pumped the pressures up a little bit, right? You're trying to make a move forward early. So Kennedy's fast. Let's see whether or not he can hold it for the entire distance.
Yeah, I'm going to be keeping an eye here on Sebastian Hauser right behind him to see what Hauser is able to do. Not a whole lot of movement, only up 1 position, but still has plenty of speed. Eli Steinbrook holding on to that 6th place position, although he's a little bit ways back and under pressure there from Nixon Ellsworth. Big lean there from Serravalle. You could really see just trying to maximize that momentum and the roll of that cart around the corner.
He's put himself back on the bumper of Medeiros now. That front 3 drivers trying to stretch away from Hauser, although Hauser turns a fast lap right there, 43.442. About a half a second quicker, not that much, but means he's going in the right direction. Anytime you're banging off purple laps early, you're going in the right direction. You want to keep that momentum, keep those fast laps coming. We've seen it so far to Sebastian Hauser, the driver for HRT. 5 drivers in that lead group. You can see then there's a big gap back, about 1.2 seconds between Salomeo back to Nixon Ellsworth. indeed, those drivers running in 5th and 6th.
Yeah, and I think there was a little bit of a battle between Ellsworth and Steinbrook. That's probably what led them farther back in the order. Medeiros had the fastest lap of the race, then it just switched over to Hauser, so there's plenty of speed in this top 5, that is to be sure. As now they come down through the corners into 6 and 7 before lining up into 8. Not seeing a whole lot of aggression here. Those 2 Racing Edge Motorsports cars still leading the way between Medeiros and Chevalier.
DJ, I love the flow of that 6, 7, 8, 9 combination. Just coming out of that short chute of the 5, you're rolling to the right, to the left, big, then it's a big sweeper around, right? Get the car to take a set. You've got to let it roll to the outside of turn number 8, through turn, then of course over to the little chicane, right, left chicane of turn number 9. I just love that particular area of the racetrack. I think it sets up for a fantastic pass through into turn number 8 and also opens things up down into turn number 10. I love that section of the racetrack right now.
Yeah, it's a really, really nice section. And it's funny, when I took a look at the lap originally, I thought it was going to be 10, 11, and 12 that I was going to fall in love with. But I've got to agree with you. It's a really nice flow to it. And also love that it kind of rolls a little bit into that flat-out chicane into 9. Mm-hmm. It's just a nice little place to kind of line things up. Right now, 2 minutes, 15 seconds left on the clock. Medeiros continues to lead. Chevalier not giving up the ghost quite yet. But again, as you said earlier, Rob, teammates here. There you saw that little bit of a push off that front bumper for the 890 to Medeiros. Definitely just helping each other out as much as possible, trying to keep Edward Kennedy behind.
Sebastian Hauser has arrived on the scene, as you see at the tail end of what was a trio. 4 drivers now there as well. Theo Salameo not that far back. He's lurking back there, P5. These guys start to race a little more. I think you'll see Salameo get back into the fight, but it is the 2 REM karts up front right now. It's still Kennedy sitting in that 3rd position. Cole Medeiros, who, again, as we said before, was running a USF Juniors car at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway just less than a week ago, Saturday and Sunday, with Exclusive Autosport. We have a number of drivers who are at that fall combine test, Frankie Mossman being one of them, having him here racing this weekend as well. So good to see him making the transition back, but expecting a full year of car racing for Cole Medeiros in 2026. Again, getting a job done right now here in the heat race, banking those points, and hopefully giving himself a good starting spot for heat race number 3 tomorrow.
Yeah, that's what he really wants to be focused in on. I mean, we've got to remember that it will lead all to that. Little bit of movement, little bit of popping in and out of line there for Chevalier, trying to just see if there's anything to be had. Maybe a little too aggressive on the curbs there for Medeiros, but it worked out for him. He's still going to be in good position. 45 seconds on the clock. I'm going to call that 4 laps to go as they cross over the line. I think we're going to have just enough to sneak by with a 3 to go this time.
Agreed. Yeah, I think you're right. One thing as well, just for those of you who are watching at home, just to give you an update on, remember, we're doing the ABCD heat races. So after the 3rd heat race, we're essentially done. The other category is doing 4 heat races. After the 3rd heat race, top 30 in points go straight into what will then be a pre-final. And then we're going to have an LCQ to see who wraps things up after that. So a lot of exciting stuff still coming here. Again, tomorrow, LCQs are going to be a ton of fun. 10 drivers transfer through to the main event. The rest are done for this year and are looking forward to 2026. So these heat races so crucial to make sure you're up front and you're not somewhere that you may have to go run the last chance qualifier.
It would appear, Rob, that I was mistaken. There is the 2 to go sign from the flagman, so we are only going to get 2 more laps to go. I guess they picked up, I guess they slowed down the pace a little bit just to spite me. But the top 5 right now, still running in relatively single file order. These 4 on a little bit of a breakaway. Salamao not quite closing in as much as we thought. He's about a 10th or so, call it a half a 10th off. There's a little bit of that communication going into turn 10, just trying to figure out how to best try to get by this Racing Edge Motorsports tandem.
Yeah, right now they're doing exactly what they need to do. Down to the bottom goes Cole Medeiros. Now here comes the defense. Further back you can see Hauser trying to go way outside over. See if he can't find a way by as well. Medeiros is going to go down the bottom as well. Oh, through to the inside comes Edward Kennedy. He sticks it in there. Not quite enough on Sarah Valley. He'll go to the inside of turn number 6 and 7. Not quite there. This is going to give Medeiros a bit of open room. Coming over to turn number 8, Sarah Valley running the blocker to the back. He's actually fighting for his life here right now to try to hold on to P2. Look who else has come to the fight. Feo Salamayo's in there as well.
You called that one earlier. Good run here for Medeiros. This might as well be signed, sealed, and delivered for the 807 driver, but I think the battle for P3 is still up in the air as they charge to the line. Everybody poking this way and that way. It's going to be Medeiros, Serravalle, and Kennedy. After much ado, your top three ends the same way they went into the lap.
Well, they made it exciting at least.
Yeah, exactly.
The rest of the field coming across the line here. Max de Guzman, Jackson Baldus, Declan D'Honorine, Tyron Scott, Keegan Ellsworth, and James Tuford. That was from 13th all the way back to 20th. But yeah, the fight up front was big. Racing Edge Motorsports getting done what they needed to get done. Hey, we got guys up front. If you get together, let's make it a 1-2. And they did. So Medeiros and Serravalle, 1 and 2. Great for them in this VLR Junior A versus C heat race. We've got B versus D up next. Cream rising to the top. DJ, not surprising.
No, not surprising at all. That's exactly the kind of thing that you want to see from these drivers, and you want to see those fights, those scraps, and that heads-up play for all of them. As we get ready, we're going to head down to the tech area as Jackson Lambros has been able to catch up with a few of our drivers. Jackson, take it away.
Talking to your heat winner here, Cole Medeiros. It's a very Canadian 1-2-3, just the way Rob Howden likes it. But talk to me about that battle there out in front.
Yeah, I feel like I was pushing my teammate a little bit at the beginning, and then I feel like I was faster, and then I passed him, and then we just worked together, and then we just broke a consistent gap, and then we battled at the end, and then I thought it was a pretty good race.
How important is it for you to find a dance partner, find someone to work with in these engines, in these conditions?
I feel like it's really important, especially in this class, because it's just hard to break away, and when you have a teammate to push you, it's just the best scenario. It's like you just push from there.
Thanks, Cole.
Thank you.
Heat 2 winner, Cole Medeiros.
He's got to be happy with that, Rob, as Medeiros is certainly in a good position. All right, we are going to take a quick break away here for a moment. We'll be back with you in just a few moments' time because we've got Heat 2 for the Junior VLR category coming up after this.
When it comes to innovation on the track, Odenthal Racing Products leads the pack. From the highly popular EasyGP camera mounts to our tough case to GoPro case, racers everywhere trust ORP for strength, reliability, and precision. We're proud to be the #1 engine mount manufacturer in the USA. And with our new Easy Bumper Retainer System, you won't get caught out with a failed bumper bolt again. Odenthal Racing Products. Lead or get left behind.
Four drivers, 12 turns, 1 goal. This is Power Drive Vegas.
Welcome back to ROK Vegas as we get ready for yet another ROK VLR Junior Group Heat Race. This #2 for Groups B and D, live from the Rio. DJ Clark and Rob Howden here in the booth, joined by Jackson Lambros as we get ready to head out for another one of these VLR races. And Rob, I mean, this was a percolating race in the last one. I'm not going to call it action-packed, but we're learning a lot about these cars.
Indeed, we're seeing which drivers are able to handle this racetrack more than others. It's always interesting because anytime you drop someone off in a track that is brand spanking new, they've had a couple of days to learn it. Now the first time figuring out how it races. Now they did that in the opening round of heats. We're going to do it again in heat race #2. How do you make the change? What changes have you made mindset-wise? How do you react to what happened in race #1 to make sure you get it done better in race #2? A lot of these drivers, we'd said, coming in with different storylines. A driver who may have had a DNF or an issue in heat race number 1, starting deeper in the field, they got to put their head down to try to get get themselves back forward.
All right, Tristan Murphy going to be starting in the front of the field with Riker Magro to his outside, Isaac Malcutt, Jackson Gibson, Eric Doan, and then the rest of the field as we get racing yet again. And it's a great start for Magro around the outside, but Tristan Murphy fighting back into turn 1. Brilliant stuff there from Murphy. It looks like he got caught napping a little bit, but immediately fought it back, and it looks like it's going to be a battle right up at the front between the 899 and the 881.
DJ, I kept my eye on the outside of that row. They charged in so hard to turn 1. I was just waiting for someone to get bounced over. Here comes the move to the inside for Malcutt. He makes it go. That's, pardon me, for Magro. No, that is Malcutt. Oh, and there's the wreck we didn't want to see. A couple of drivers off, I believe, over in turn number 5. 2 of them off the racetrack. But indeed, that is, I think, Malcutt, who's gone to the lead. Great job for Isaac Malcutt there in the MVR machine. He goes up front. With an early move, top 5 driver breakaway, a little bit of a gap. Oh, nice aggressive move to the bottom. Magro works his way up into second.
Macro going aggro here at this point, trying to push his way ahead, and he certainly has that second position in great stead. Tristan Murphy, your pole sitter, down into 3rd place as they filter their way into turn 8, and Magro going to be trying to see if he can get anything to play on your leader here. This heat race certainly a little bit more scruffy than the first one.
Yeah, they had their elbows up in a big way on the opening circuit, and I think you saw that Malcutt got some confidence in that opening round of heat races and said, hey, listen, I know I can get to the front here, and I think I may be able to pull away. He was super aggressive, made the move down the back straight, took the pass into turn number 10, and now with a little bit of the fighting behind him, pulls an almost half a second lead. Fast lap of the race as well out of the gate. Quickest driver over the opening couple of circuits. Malcutt leads the way, nicely open racetrack. We'll see whether or not Magro and Murphy can work together and potentially eat into that early gap.
Well, I think crucially here for Malcutt, as you mentioned, he's fastest out of anybody, but not by a small margin. I mean, we're talking about a 10th here for this driver, the American, doing a really, really good job for MDR karting. Just trying to hold off on the lead here. There he is at the front. The battle right now, Magro, Murphy, Doan, and Pettit right now. Those 2nd through 5th.
I always look at which driver has that fantastic, cold tire lap ability coming out of the gate. I mentioned before, some guys will pump the tires up a little early, a little more, so they're going to be better out of the gate because the tires come up to temperature quickly. But essentially, everybody's probably at the same level playing field when you get going. Some of these drivers that can really maximize and optimize their chassis and their tires and their grip over the opening couple circuits, they're going to benefit. Gary Carlton was the guy, when he was coming up through the shifter karting ranks here, he would just get a fantastic lead. He'd pull a 2-second lead on the opening lap, or the open couple laps, and he would hold that 2-second lead for the rest of the race. He did what he needed to do, a master on cold tires, and then he was able to manage the rest of the race. I love when I see that out of a young driver, to see if Malcutt can make that happen here. Will there be enough draft for Murphy, Magro, Doan, and Pettit to close up, or can he manage this and hold on to what is now a 0.6 of a second lead?
Well, he's doing a good job. I mean, he continues to set the fastest lap of the race of 43.282 again, about 0.7 of a second faster, or 0.07 of a second faster than Magro behind him. So this is good running for this driver of the 870. And I think with this 4-kart battle behind that we're seeing with Magro, Murphy, Doan, and Pettit, this could be the exact recipe that Malcutt needs to be able to just pull ahead.
We'll keep looking at lap times. You mentioned he's gone faster and faster, sent purple on a couple of laps. Does it again for a second, then Travis Pettit took it away. But very quick again for Malcutt. My thing is, did they bump the tire pressure up? Is he good out of the gate, or are we going to see faster laps still down the line? 0.7 of a second lead for Malcutt right now, well out front. Those behind him, though, ready to scrap it out. The number 881 of Riker Magro leads the chase. And you watch the rest of those drivers behind, trying to see if they can't run in on them as well. Tristan Murphy, Eric Doan, Travis Pettit, They've got a big gap over Jackson Gibson. It's 1.1 second back to Jackson, so lots of room between 5th and 6th.
All right, Jackson, what do you got for me, man?
Well, I think we also need to consider this giant shadow thanks to the Rio All Suites that's generating on this side of the racetrack if we're talking about temperature. And yes, once we get to early afternoon, not too much of a factor. But once we get closer to the end of the day, guys, that's going to be cooler than a very good chunk of this racetrack.
See, I'm smart there, DJ.
Yeah, it's like you
I talked
mentioned
about
it.
that already. But listen, no, I feel fantastic right now. It's like, yeah, indeed. That's something that always plays a role here. More, Jackson, in the cooler temperatures, right? If we were here in the middle of November, all of a sudden it goes from being maybe 60 to 45 in there when it comes down. Because the sun, of course, once you lose the sun. But that's definitely going to play a role. Even right now at 68 degrees, it's going to be at least 10 degrees different ambient temperature in that shadow. That means that track is going to continue to cool up.
Well, and let's not even take into consideration the cooling, which is a huge factor of that, but just the eye dilation that will happen there naturally as they come through that corner. It will take a millisecond or two for your eyes to adjust coming in and out of that sunlight, and that can throw off the reaction times. And as a driver, you got to take care of that.
And to add to that, remember they're going to be on a dark visor still, right?
Yep.
A very dark visor, because they're still coming out of that corner, that final corner, looking right into the sun. So it's going to be super dark, as Jackson mentioned, coming through that area. Not just the temperature, but visually as well.
Yeah, it looked like there, I think Tristan Murphy able to get the move done back on Riker Magro. I was wondering, and Magro going to fight him back here, and it looks like Dillon going to follow him on through. We've got a proper scrap here up for it. His positions shuffle around. Magro's going to hold on to it. Eric Dillon is going to hold on to that third place position. Murphy's shuffled back down to 4th.
Yeah, impressive there for Eric Doan. He throws it down there as well in the PSL karting Bureau art machine. He'll go to P3. Doan more than happy to take advantage of that and put it back down the bottom. But while they're fighting away here for second, you got Isaac Malkian up there going purple again, 42.892. There you go. The answer to the question, he did not go high on tire pressure. He's just bad fast right now.
Yeah, he's just got that cart hooked up. And Doan right now, I think, really heads up play in the way that he did that. He saw the opportunity opened there by Magro, was able to take it on through, and now he's up into a podium position for Doan. And now Tristan Murphy looks like a little bit on the back foot. Pettit putting some pressure to the back of that 899. Let's see what plays out over the next minute and 2 laps, but still, I'm very impressed with that move from Eric Doan. We haven't seen that much aggressiveness out of Eric thus far this race, but we saw it there.
And he's working his way forward. That's the great thing. He didn't qualify particularly well. He's got himself forward, getting a couple spots. He got a bunch of the spots in heat race number 1. Now he's up into 3rd position, potentially able to fight Magro for that 2nd spot before it's all said and done. And yeah, Eric Doan really progressing through as you should. This is one of those textbook cases where you've done the right things, you've moved forward, you've fixed up what happened. That issue in qualifying, you keep moving forward, you forget about that come Sunday.
Memory of a goldfish, like we said. It's what you've got to have as a racing driver. Malkit, by the way, just to prove your point, Rob, sets the fastest lap of the race yet again of 42.892. That's not tire pressures. That's bad fast, as you said.
They're rolling. They've got that thing hooked up right now. I like seeing him with Mike Doty. Isaac's run with a couple of different teams over the last couple of years, but Mike is a guy I've known for a long time. He knows his stuff 100%. And I'll have a good chat with Mike and Isaac Stad, Mark later on to get some more information.
So we know in SV Jake Drew clearly has things dialed in on his machine. The magic question I've got now, you think Isaac Malkit sticks to his guns with what he's got at this point?
Well, again, like I said, when you go back to Mike Doty, right? They're making the decisions on what they want to do with the kart itself. The bottom line is this track, like Jake told us, is just going to keep changing. It's going to keep getting better. The rubber's going down. Temperatures are going to be the same throughout the weekend, so that's a constant that they're lucky to have. It's not all of a sudden going to be 65 degrees for the mains on Sunday, but the setup they have right now for Malkit is absolutely bang on. He goes purple yet again, boys. 42.832 for lap number 11. This kid is just resetting it. That's what I love to see. They have got it going, open racetrack, 2 to go for Malkit. And indeed, Jackson, to your question, I don't know. You've got to stay on top of the chassis setup. I just don't think you can rest on your laurels. Even though Jake Drew told us they hadn't changed the thing since midway through Wednesday, I don't know that you want to take big swings when you're that good.
I've got to agree with you there on that. Is Eric Doan, again, I said that aggressiveness may come out trying to send it there. No, excuse me, that's Tristan Murphy.
There comes Doan, though.
Doan on the fight back down into 10. Little bit of a wiggle under braking. Millimeters in between the two Carters there, but able to pull it off. Great response from Eric Doan.
Yeah, you got to come right back at it. Tristan made a good move to get by to get that third spot away. And you see Travis petted up on the wheel there as well. He's trying to see if he can't benefit. He wasn't close enough to go through with Eric Doan to get back by. Riker Magro more than happy to have them fighting for third behind him right now. But as we said, boys, final lap on the racetrack. Malkin up by 2.7 seconds. Magro's got some room, but we're not done with Doan and Murphy.
No, we're not, as Doan takes a very defensive line, trying to hold off on the attack there from Tristan Murphy. Now Murphy's going to take a little bit of a look on the outside defensive line yet again from Doan. Murphy around the outside of 10. Big wiggle there, and Doan's going to be able to shut the door. Is that going to be enough to say job done? I think it is. Malkut comes to the line in dominant fashion. Then it's going to be Magro and Doan. Beautiful, beautiful defense there from Eric Doan. I am very impressed with this 866 driver from PSL Karting.
That was just a really, really fun race to watch. There was so much cool stuff that happened there. Isaac Malkin, it wasn't a battle for the lead, but he put on the show by resetting the fast lap of the race numerous times, coming away with it on lap number 11, a 42.832. Fast lap for Isaac Malkin en route to a 2.884 second victory, almost 3 seconds up on Riker Magro, who at one point was challenged but fought himself back up into second. The battle between Doan and Murphy, super fun to watch. Pettit wasn't quite there to close up on it, although Jackson Gibson, who was about 1.8 back at one point, got it down to 0.6 of a second. A couple more laps, and I think maybe he might have been part of the fight as well.
Yeah, we might have been talking about him in short order, Eddie, been able to just stretch that out. And that's good stead when you think about to the feature race come Sunday. We've got to remember, we add time to these races. There's going to be more race to run, and that could favor Jackson Gibson if they've got a little bit of a long-run kart.
Listen, that's always the balance, right? Especially when we talk about these 8-minute plus 2-lap races. Wait till we go into the main events that are going to be much longer. That's when you really kind of lean back on your tuners and your mechanic and your coach. All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go this much longer. We're going to set the tire pressures to here. There's things that you change when you are knowing that you're going to have 5-10 more laps at the end.
Exactly. Well, we're going to find out just how some of the drivers did down on pit lane as we've been able to catch up with Isaac Malkut. Jackson's got him right now.
Catched up here with Isaac Malkut. And Isaac, a 10th in this division is an eternity. You've somehow found 2 of them. Talk to me about what feels right for you behind the 870.
Yeah, honestly, I just got in front at the beginning, and I was just able to set down some fast laps at the beginning. And then as the run went on, I just kind of took it easy, saved the tires, and just ran some good laps at the beginning. I was able to pull away from the guys behind and finish P1 in the heat, so yeah.
What's the game plan for the rest of the weekend then? Any changes, or are you liking what you got?
Right now, I think we're just going to leave it, but yeah.
Thanks, Isaac.
Yep, you're welcome.
Isaac Malkut, guys.
All right, Rob, there's the answer to your question. Not going to change it.
Yeah, well, there's also a couple answers there, right? I mean, we talked about tire deg.
Yep.
He goes, we want to take care of the tires. I like the fact that he said I was just taking it easy, and that just take it easy lap was a purple lap on lap 11. So when the karts are really good, and when a driver says he's taking it easy, that's when they're in that groove. They're in that zone. They're just driving. Everything's perfect. Everything's hitting. He's taking it easy, and he goes purple.
Well, it's Jackie Stewart tells the old story when he was driving for Tyrrell that his team told him, okay, you've got a 2-minute lead or whatever it was back in the day. Calm down, take it easy. And he starts setting purple laps, and the team's getting mad at him that he's doing it. But it's exactly what you said. You're relaxed. You're in the groove, and you're just able to extract more out of the cars.
And whatever they did to that setup, Mike Doty and the crew did, and Marcus and getting everything dialed in there, that thing was absolutely perfect. He took care of the tires. He got the first good laps early. That's the confidence that he's going to need. He's going to go to bed tonight saying, bring on Saturday. I can't wait for heat race number 3.
Exactly, and that's what you want. You don't want to be going into a Saturday thinking, oh, well, maybe this is the issue that I should change. Maybe that's the issue that I should change. You want to come in with confidence. You want to come in knowing what the kart is going to do and having full faith that when you turn the wheel left, you know exactly how far left it's going to go.
When you chase it, you finish the second heat race, and then here's what we're going to do. They make all these changes. Let's see what it does in morning warm-up. You're like, okay, yeah, hopefully it'll be good in morning warm-up. You talk to them after. We threw the sink at it. When you hit like him, I think we're going to leave it.
Yeah.
They're probably not going to leave it, just so you know. Doty will be like, oh, we're going to do, him and Marcus will be like, I want to make a little
Micro
minor
adjustments,
change.
yeah.
It's, track's going to have more rubber, but the bottom line is they're where they need to be right now. It's fantastic for him.
All right, well, I hear the unmistakable sounds of carts headed back out to the track, and that can only mean that it is time for VLR Senior, Groups A and C. Jonathan Port's going to be lining us up in the front of the field. Alessandro DiTullio directly behind him, then Alexander Vanchev, Carter Herrera, James Overbeck, Jose Carlos Hernandez, William Boutier, and Johnny Stamps, your first 4 rows. Caden O'Connor and Jeremy Fletcher, your 5th row. I'm watching out for Jeremy Fletcher. We saw what he was able to do earlier on. That 913, that's got some speed.
Let's go back one more row, too, to Dean Peterson and Caleb Gaffera.
Oh, yeah.
Two big guns. Dean's been running over in Europe all year. A lot of top-level competition. Caleb, as we know, races USF 2000, winner last year, but he's won a ton of races here. A couple of years ago, he was the outright best junior in all of American karting. So those two guys looking to work their way forward as well. You got James Overbeck in there. We did talk to Alessandro DiTullio. He got collected in that the wreck over in turn number 3 and 4. Beat up the ribs a little bit. A little bit sore mid-body, but he's a young guy. He should be okay. We'll see what he does coming back out there. Just a bent axle. They got the cart dial back in for him. But maybe a little tender in the ribs for ADT here to start heat race number 2.
He's young enough, I can say, rub some dirt on it, and he'll be fine.
That's right.
But Jonathan Ports and Alessandro DiTullio going to lead us around to the green. Ports in the red, DiTullio in the blue. They line into the start zone, and here we go. It's not the best getaway there for Ports. DiTullio's immediately going to try to fight back on him. Swings around the outside. Vanchev trying to poke his nose up in there as well as they swing back down into turn 5. It looks like it's going to be Ports, DiTullio, and Vanchev.
Super impressed with Jonathan Ports here this weekend. Put the car on the pole in qualifying, able to get off the gate here really quickly out front. DiTullio covers to the bottom of the racetrack as the rookie senior Alexander Vanchev up into second. I mentioned that Caleb Gaffera was a top junior a number of years ago. This year, this kid into second. Book it. Vanchev goes to P2. One driver out here early on, but indeed Alexander Vanchev was one of probably the most dominant junior driver throughout the entire 2025 season, making his move up here to senior at ROK Vegas, already by ADT. This is the way you want to get the job done. But I'll throw this out here for you, DJ. That's the thing in karting. When you move from junior to senior, I'd love to sit down and talk to these guys when they move up, because you got to earn the respect from the senior drivers. You don't come in beating and banging on each other, because they're going to rough you up a little bit. But if you come in and race clean and race strong, there you're going to gain the respect. That's going to pay off for you in the long run.
Very much so. And I'll tell you, he's having a big payoff here. Luke is up in third. Jeremy Fletcher already up 7 positions. Is that single make manufacturer ace just moving and grooving his way up through this field, already past ADT.
Yeah, Jeremy Fletcher, very, very impressive. We know what he can do on a street circuit, and talked about the fact that in another Las Vegas race that's run down here in Q4 of each year, he was able to win 2 races a couple of years ago, both junior races. So Fletcher knows how to get the job done on the Las Vegas temporary circuits, and a great start for him, as you said, getting himself up there nicely. Big fight further back. Well, that's some side-by-side contact right there as well, coming through turn number 8. Getting interesting here.
And here comes Fletcher. Big move down to the inside on Vanchev coming into turn 10. Makes it stick. That is not a move that we see normally in the non-shifter categories, but Fletcher doesn't care about that. He wants the lead.
Remember, we go back to the heat race this morning where he passed in that corner on the outside?
Yep.
Now he's passed to the inside. So if Fletcher's behind you, you don't know which way he's going to go. Am I going inside or am I going outside?
I think we call that leaving them in an air of suspense.
Yes.
And it's a great job here for Jeremy Fletcher ahead of Vanchev. Now he's just got Ports to focus on up ahead of him. Again, this is a driver that started the race farther down in the order, all the way down through the field, about 10th position, I think, or was he a little bit farther out?
Fletcher, it looks like he started P5.
Okay.
You and I were looking at it. It looked like he was 9th.
Yeah, it looked like he was 9th or 10th. So
what it's saying on live time is +5, or a 5th to 3rd, or to 2nd, so +3. So regardless, great run for Fletcher here, benefiting from what he was able to do in heat race number 1. Improved his starting spot for heat race number 2, and has already got himself into second with, dare I say, early pace that may say that he's going to challenge Jonathan Ports in that Mike Manning karting machine. purple on lap number 4. Fletcher pulling away from Vanchev, DeTulio, and Hernandez. He looks to be the guy on the move.
Well, and just look at that lap time. I mean, we're talking almost 0.3 of a second faster than Ports. I think this is a matter of when, not if, Fletcher makes this move. Coming out of turn 13 right now. We've seen him make the move into 10. We've seen him make the move into 8. Is it time to make the move into 1? Oh, he thinks about it. He goes for it. Contact between the two.
Oh, I'd worry about a pushback bumper there as Ports literally came across the bow on him. That was tight. Bumper looked pretty
okay.
good. Yeah, coming out of turn number 5, it looked like there was enough underneath it. Yeah, he may have dodged a bullet on that one. I guarantee you this, the next pass will be more decisive. That one seemed pretty decisive on my own. That he was down to the inside, but Ports did not want to let it happen. Watch this here. Yeah, maybe a couple of laps here for Fletcher to just see what Ports is going to do. Vanchev back right on him again. Although knowing Fletcher, he may not wait at all. He may just throw it down the inside and get it done. We'll see what happens if they come across the line to put, again, lap number 6 in the books.
Well, and I think he's got he may have his hand forced on what's happening behind him. Alexander Vanchev and Alessandro DeTulio. As there, DeTulio sends a nice move up to the inside of Vanchev, coming through turn 5, heads up there from ADT. Now that's going to give Fletcher a little bit more breathing room, and that can allow him to pick his fight a little bit better.
So one of the things, DJ, we say a lot in karting, and depending on where you're wrestling, and I remember Ryan Norberg saying this to me, it's often pass or be passed.
Right.
If you're in the group, you just go. Like, yeah, you can tell a driver, hey, stay there, see if you can't pull away. Guys like Norberg who win a lot of races just say pass or repass. I'm going by the guy in front of me. Otherwise, the guy behind me's coming. So Fletcher's that kind of ilk, right? He's going to throw it in there if he can. ADT, DeTulio right behind him in 3rd now. Vanchev 4th. DeTulio gave Vanchev a little tap on the helmet. Let's go. I'll lead us. Let's get up there. But, I just feel like Fletcher, the minute he's able to make the pass, we'll do it once again. He's all over him coming through 6 and 7.
Yeah, he's going to have it. Ooh, I thought he was going to do it in 8. I really thought he was going to go for it there.
He's gauging the pace, right? Where am I? How much of it? Because you're always gauging the run. Do I have a better run on him to make the pass? It's not just so much as it happening. I've set that pass up where I've lined myself up correctly so that maybe I'll be able to make that pass. He needs to know if he has the run. If the run's not there, you decide to back off, and away you go from there.
Yeah, and he'll just have to try to figure that out a little bit as time goes along. Takes a little bit of an outside look coming in through turn 1. Now takes a wider line down through turn 5. Just, again, figuring this out, and so much of this is figuring out your competition. Jonathan Ports, as we said, Fletcher does do time in karting, but he mainly races in single manufactured cars, whether it's MX-5 or GR Cup. That's what he's more known for, so he doesn't know his competition nearly as well as the rest of this field would.
Well, I'll tell you this, too. Ports has been showing that minor defensive line. Oh, there's contact there! Couple drivers around.
That's DeTulio again!
DeTulio, contact from the back, and he's going to try to roll himself out of harm's way right now. Contact from behind coming through turn number 11 to 12, and DeTulio's day goes even worse. Lots happening behind that as well. Trying to pick up what's going on here, where we are in this race. This is further back in the pack.
This is around 4th or 5th. I think this is Carter Herrera, Johnny Stamps, Dean Peterson.
Yeah, Overbeck's in there as well. I recognize the Overbeck helmet. There's 1st and 2nd. All that happened has opened things up in a big way. Ports and Fletcher still fighting it out. But a number of drivers involved in this battle we're seeing coming through it after DeTulio kind of scattered everybody, backing it in to turn number 11.
All right, in this battle that we keep our eye on right now.
That's Johnny Stamps, I can tell by the helmet lead.
That's 909. Yeah, Stamps does that a little bit.
He gets the head back like this all the time. Yeah, he's easier to pick up. But this is it right here. Ports versus Fletcher. And we're going to be close to having 2 laps when we come back around. I think they may be able to sneak through with only 31 seconds left. We'll see.
Flagger's been a little bit under lenient, I think, so it may be 2 to go at the line.
He's been pulling the trigger, trying to see if he can't catch up a couple of minutes here and there.
Well, and this is going to be something interesting. We've got some lap traffic ahead as Fletcher takes a look to the outside, goes for the crossover. Well defended there by Jonathan Ports. Very, very well defended move for the 905.
You said they were coming up on a slower cart there as well. We'll see whether that driver gets out of the way. Ports defends down to the inside. Look at this. Fletcher's going to try the outside. Loving the over-under. This is what I've said so many times. All it takes is 2 drivers on the racetrack to make a fantastic battle, and these 2 are dicing it out. Look at Fletcher thinking about the inside of turn number 6. That driver coming off to the scales. Great job there.
I think that was DiTullio,
Oh, it
actually.
might have been, it might have been Alessandro. Back through turn number 8 and 9.
Here he comes. He's got a good run here. Very defensive line once again from Ports. That's going to force Fletcher around the outside. Looks for the crossover coming down through 11. Not going to get it there, but he is stuck super glued to that rear bumper. Coming to the line now. 2 to go. It's almost now or never for Fletcher. He's going to force his way down to the inside. Backs out of it. No, he doesn't. Yes, he does. Contact.
Oh, this is good stuff. Fletcher's through. That's what we're talking about. He made a move to the inside, coming to the kink of the front straightaway. Ports tried to pinch him down, got inside him as Ports had released from the apex to get back around turn number 2. Through 3 and 4, Fletcher able to get the job done. Little bit of contact, Rubbin's racing. Great job there for Fletcher as he's able to go by Ports, who was defending mightily to try to hold back Fletcher.
Yeah, Ports was really throwing everything and the kitchen sink at it to try to hold back Fletcher, but I think that was a matter of time that we knew Fletcher had more speed. He's going to come across the line right now to take that white flag. 42.8, obviously a little bit slower courtesy of that contact, but already about a 2-kart length gap in between Fletcher and Ports.
Let's see if Ports has anything for him. Doesn't look like it right now. I think that Fletcher was just that much quicker. You can see how he's pulled away to at least a kart length and a half here over the last couple of corners. Quick look to the inside to make sure he can run the full racing line through turn number 8, back to 9. He'll be able to run a full race line here as well. He won't need to defend, I don't think. No, he's got a good run out of them to the back straightaway.
Yeah, he's going to be able to hold that off. Carries really good speed there into turn 10, slows it up for 11 and flicks it down through 12. Here they come out and around, and through effort alone, Jeremy Fletcher will take victory over Ports. Jose Carlos Hernandez will be third. Then it's Carter Herrera and Johnny Stamps, your top 5. James Overbeck up into P6.
Full props to Jonathan Ports for putting the pressure on over the final lap as well. Look to the inside, coming through that 10, 11, 12 complex. Tried to maybe even get on the bumper a little bit, see if he could roll out a bump and run. Didn't quite play out for, but Fletcher, very impressive, really making that pass happen, right? That was one where he kind of forced the issue to make it happen after Ports was being so defensive. Again, great job for Jose Carlos Hernandez coming in third, Carter Herrera and Johnny Stamps. James Overbeck started 6th, finished 6th. Team Peterson up a couple of spots, started 9th, finished in the 7th spot. Vanchev, who was right up in there, he lost 5 spots, shuffled back into the 8th position. William Bottillier and Caleb Gaffera rounding out the top 10, just +1 for Gaffera to get himself into the top 10. But there's Jeremy Fletcher right there. Pretty happy, I think, DJ, with a pretty solid performance here in VLR Senior Heat 2.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to be certainly happy about that, to be able to defend in the way that he did and pull that off. As I know we have a Jackson Lambros waiting down there at some point. As there he is, as he magically appears in shot. We throw down to Jackson with the story.
Physical out there. Obviously for you, Jeremy, talk to me about that ambitious move there into turn number 1.
Yeah, I mean, I got swerved plenty of times, so it's definitely aggressive. It's barrier racing, so anything kind of goes. Unfortunate to race that way, but I'm just happy to be here. Thank you to Mike Manning, Michelle Manning. They've came along this weekend and helped me out so much. Trying to make you proud at home, ZCD, and yeah, I just can't thank OTK and everybody else that made this weekend possible.
That's not an easy move to pull off into turn number 1, but I mean, you've had a very long year of race weekends under your belt. How much does putting in laps behind the wheel of an MX-5 Cup, where it's very much known for using the chrome horn ethically, to make a move like that?
Yeah, I mean, it's all tight racing here. It's K. It's all going to be a draft fest. So I was happy to push away, but he wanted to race, so we ended up getting into it a little bit, but happy to come away with another heat race win.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Yes, sir.
Happy to come away with another heat race win. There is Jeremy Fletcher, and I'd be pretty happy as well, especially one that you got a battle like that. That always makes it a little bit more sweet.
Yeah, he did say they got into it a little bit, but the defensive run for Ports was aggressive. He was being super defensive, midlining a lot of the corners, and drivers eventually get a little sick of that, right? When you're midlining me, and I'm a bit quicker. And hey, listen, that's not the first time he tried to move up the inside either. He'd done it earlier in the race. Ports had really forced the issue and kind of pinched him down on the wall there. The minute this time he got through, he wasn't going to give up. He just kept happening, and getting into one there. As soon as Ports released, he just threw the car back down the inside. Yeah, a little contact, but I think when you're running defensive like that as a driver, you can expect a bit of contact.
I was going to say, you have to kind of expect that when you are that aggressively defensive. All right, we move on into the heat races for groups B and D for VLR Senior here at ROK Vegas. Chase Hand going to be starting off in pole position, followed by Sebastian Garzon. Jake Drew and Colin Lloyd in row 2. Jesus Vasquez Jr. will be 5th, followed by Jackson Menchu, Oliver Mrak, then Theo Kakati, and then Anthony Rivera and Dylan Dransfeld as we lead our way around to this field. We get ready, Chase Hand and Garzon to the inside and outside of row 1. Field filled up nicely behind. They line their way on up, and we get ready to go racing. Flagger out of the way, and here we go. Looks like a pretty decent getaway there. A lot on that outside line trying to break on in. It's going to be a good getaway. I think that's Jake Drew and Chase Hand that have been able to get the advantage early.
Yeah, you got a couple of GFC carts getting out of the gate cleanly there with Hand and Drew. We'll see how they all played out. A couple drivers off the track a bit further back. That is the number 918 who went around through there. That's coming over into turn number 5, Vivian Teeter going around over there. We'll see whether or not the Drew and Hand show up front, able to pull away cleanly and potentially defend over the opening circuit here as everybody get themselves through the turn 9 chicane. Yeah, here come those drivers, the familiar black and white livery out front. Looks to me like Chase Hand, I think, has gotten to P1. So Hand is your leader. Drew runs in second. We got more GFCs there as well, as I believe Jesus Vasquez Jr. now up into the 3rd spot as well, ahead of Sebastian Garzon.
Trying to hold off the best of his ability here as they work their way down through turn 5 right now, trying to be able to fly their way on through, looking down through the flick of 5 and 6. Everybody in single file order through this point. And then, of course, as soon as I say that, we've got a couple of carts poking out of line down through turn 8. Going to force their way through. That was the 954. I think that was Menchu and Kakati trying to sort themselves out for about the 7th position.
This category brought to you by GFC Kart, the sponsor of VLR Senior. This will cap off the day for the VLR Senior drivers, Group B versus Group D. After this, ROK Micro, then our ROK Shifter Masters and Super Masters. And of course, we'll cap it all off with ROK SV Pro, their second heat race. Good racing all the way through the field here right now. A lot of good battles, as you can see. Hand and Drew out front, P1 and P2. Advantage there over Sebastian Garzon, the Ochelon Racing driver who was able to get back by Jesus Vasquez Jr. So Garzon, no stranger to winning on temporary courses here in Las Vegas, running in that 3rd spot. Colin Lloyd up into 5th spot. Kakaki, Menchu, Mrak, Fernandez, and Rivera, top 10.
Yeah, just single file up to the front here. We saw some really defensive moves farther back in the field. I think from around Kakati's position. It may have been Kakati himself that did it, but we're going to have to wait and see. These top 2 just trying to see if there's a little bit of a breakaway here. Jake Drew not looking too aggressive, but definitely holding in behind. But that is allowing for Sebastian Garzon to really start to close in.
Look at lap times, they keep coming around. Last time about a half a second quicker, or half a tenth rather quicker for Garzon. He sees him up front there. He knows what he's got to do. Colin Lloyd able to get by Vasquez as well. So move Jesus Vasquez, who was actually all the way back up to 3rd at one point, back down to 5th. And you see both Garzon and Lloyd now. He'll lose another spot as well. As Kakaki, I think, by. Trying to follow in the footsteps of his Mike Manning karting teammate Jeremy Fletcher, working his way to the front. So move Kakaki now up into the 5th position.
Yeah, Kakati doing a great job just picking off those positions methodically, moving their way up through the field. That's up 2 on the day for them. I want to give a big shout out here to our big mover thus far, which I thought was up 12, and I apparently just can't read. But that's Camden Romanis, who is up 6. That's your big mover thus far.
Good job done early on with 4 laps in. Let's have a look at the lap times as they come back around here again. 43.0 for Hand, 42.9 for Drew. It looked like they went purple for a second. But Kakati now there with a 42.907. Faster than the leaders. Theo Kakati running fifth, putting the pressure now on Colin Lloyd.
Yeah, really starting to just pile on that ample pressure. A little bit of a gap up to Colin Lloyd, but he's still going to be there. And rest assured that Lloyd is going to be well aware that he's closing in. And again, Garzon still trying to close that gap here between Hand and Drew. Drew now starting to look a little bit aggressive, starting to be able to see if he can get his way ahead a little bit more. But it looks like any time where it matters, any time where they start to get into an overtaking opportunity, Chase Hand just has just enough of an advantage to hold it at bay.
Yeah, you wonder where the advantage is, right? Are they on the same gear package? Is he maybe a little better on the top end? Right now, Drew, who told us, has not made any changes yet. Maybe made one coming in, we'll see. But otherwise, he's putting a ton of pressure on here now. Right there, coming out of turn number 8, 9. Let's see what we look like on the straightaway. We're in the draft together, very evenly matched. Yeah, if anything, maybe Hand a little bit there on the straightaway as he's able to hold a full cart length coming in to that 10, 11, 12 combination. Back onto the front chute again. And Hand trying to stretch away a bit across the line. He gained about half a tenth of a second. So doesn't look it right now. Doesn't take much to close that back up under the braking, but Hand giving himself a little bit of breathing room, DJ, as Garzon starting to close up on Jake Drew.
Well, and even just that little bit of breathing room is going to do so much good for Chase Hand. He's just going to be able to lock in a little bit more, as we said, not have to glance behind. Because even when you're running and not glancing behind, you can still hear it. You can feel that cart behind you.
Oh, yeah, you can. You listen, for sure. Teammates, actually not teammates, GFC for Hand, Formula Works for Jake Drew.
Very similar liveries.
Yeah, well, they're part of the GFC family. Yep. Of course, the Formula Works team, so strong in Southern California. Oh, that's a big move. Garzon tried it. Garzon threw it to the inside of Drew over in turn number 5. Did not work. Contact from the rear. He goes off, and that's allowed Colin Lloyd to work his way up into P number 3, or P2 rather. Lloyd goes to second. Indeed, he does. In the Velocity Racing Sodi kart machine, as the contact between Drew and Garzon dropped them back, and Kakati is up there as well. He's been able to get by, so Garzon lost a couple of spots, and he's trying to make the move to the inside again, coming out of turn number 13.
Garzon being very aggressive, and who I thought was going to be the aggressive one was Kakati, and they're not quite able to get it as Garzon. Now he's going to have a little bit of a look to the outside as Kakati holds the inside line coming through turn 5, gets onto the power, rolling everything out. Now through 6 and 7. It's still going to be Garzon all over the back of Kakati. If I'm Kakati, I'm worried about that exact move right there from Garzon. Shuts the door a little bit, and that's now going to open up a little bit of an opportunity for Jesus Vasquez Jr.
Yeah, you can see that Kakati was smart. Coming up to turn 5, could have moved a little bit to the inside of the racetrack so that Garzon couldn't lunge one up on the inside. He did try to make the move to the inside of turn number 8. I was waiting for the contact, and both those drivers off the racetrack into the barriers. Did not happen. Kakati able to hold the spot. Vasquez, as you said, maybe going to keep Sebastian Garzon a little more honest here. If he opens the door, he may come back through. But now it looks like a bit of a drop there for Vasquez Jr. All said and done, Colin Lloyd, the big benefactor, DJ, as he goes to P2.
Yeah, and he's going to hold on to that position and the fastest lap of the race with a 42.685. So good running there from Colin Lloyd. Jake Drew just trying to hold on to a podium position. But the main battle here still for 4th place between Theo Kakati and Sebastian Garzon, as Garzon just continues to be aggressive in the best possible way. We are going to have 3 laps to go at the line right now. Let's see if Garzon decides to send another big one down here into turn 5. He likes that line. He's going to go for it and muscles his way on by Kakati.
You see that thing start to rotate. The minute he got it into the corner, it was already kind of rotating, and Kakati, to his credit, let that happen and didn't force the issue. Could have kind of pinched down on him, but yeah, Garzon had that thing essentially almost rotated by the time he made the turn into the corner. So able to come off that corner strongly. Kakati right there with him now. Let's see if Garzon can now benefit. He's got that open racetrack now. Trying to go back after Jake Drew. That's how this whole thing started. Trying to make a move on Jake Drew over in turn number 5. Contact allowed Colin Lloyd to slip on through. 2 laps remaining. The lead for Chase Hand, 1.4 seconds. But as you said before, Still Colin Lloyd with fast lap of the race on the Sony card.
Yeah, and Lloyd, call it about a half a tenth faster each lap. So Lloyd's got more speed. Just not closing down, I think, enough to Hand to really make it matter here for today. But that'll be something that Hand will look at when they go back into data and telemetry later today. Is definitely going, okay, I got to watch out for this, is Colin Lloyd had a little more speed.
We talked about drivers being in the zone, and that is where Chase Hand is right now, 1.4 seconds up. Just turned his fastest lap last time by. Here we are in the last lap of 42.777. Then rolled by with a 42.9, so a couple tenths of a second. Garzone right there on Drew.
Oh,
another one.
Kakati picks the pocket.
Yeah, this is watch. Let's keep an eye on this here right now, because I guarantee you, Jake Drew not super happy with the contact coming into that corner. Kakati more than happy to take advantage of that, because they were locked up coming through turn number 5. Here comes Vasquez again, trying to get in there as well. Final lap, DJs, they'll work their way through the final couple of corners. I'll tell you, they're not done yet. They're going to go back and forth. That is Vasquez, I believe, making the move to the inside there. I think, yeah, it's Vasquez battling it out now with Garzone. A big shakeup on the last lap here. Hand is going to win significantly. Coming across the line, you got to watch out for a pushback bumper when you're coming across there to see the checker and slowing up. Ooh. Jackson, get out there, my friend.
You got some reporting to do right now.
Chase Hand, Colin Lloyd, Theo Kakati ends up in 3rd, Jesus Vasquez Jr. in 4th, Jake Drew 5th, Garzone 6th, Menchu 7th, Marak 8th, Rivera 9th, and Fernandez 10th. I would expect that we're potentially going to see some chatter out in the scale line right now.
Yeah, we are, and we're going to take a look at a replay here. I think this was Garzone, and then some of that movement that we saw on the last lap here. We're going to take a look at that. Yeah, this is that move with Jake Drew.
Yeah, Garzone made the over-under, was pinching down. Drew didn't want him to come to the inside and kind of drifted over a bit to the right side of the racetrack. There's going to be a lot there. Let's watch that again. Yeah.
Yeah, let's play that back one more time.
Watch Drew. Feels the contact. Maybe comes over a little. Garzone doesn't want to give it up. Kakati's like, thank you so much. I'll take it.
Happy, thank you. More, please, as we are able to now go down to Jackson Lambros, who's been able to catch up with our winner, Chase Hand.
Standing by here with Joey Hand after an exciting second heat for you guys. Was obviously getting physical out there, not just bumper to bumper, but really, really starting to feel the heat here on track. Talk to me about how it feels for you behind the wheel.
Yeah, I mean, that one I wouldn't know. I had no pressure behind. I was trying to put down as best laps I could the whole time and just checked out there at the end. But yeah, the weekend's been going pretty good. This track's fun to race. It's a quick, fast track, but to me it's fun. It has good racing, but so far so good.
I think compared to a lot of the past temporary circuits, it's surprised a lot of drivers with actually how smooth it's been. Would you agree on that?
Yeah, I mean, the Rio parking lot's always bumpy, but we know where those bumps are at, and you're always trying to drive through them the best you can. But no real big bumps that are problems for me. Yeah, so track's nice, smooth, fast. I like what ROK did here.
Thank you, Chase.
You're welcome.
Heat 2 winner, Chase Hand, guys.
Yeah, a great run there for Chase to be able to seal that deal. Interested to see, I don't see any fisticuffs or anything of that nature going on through the rest of the field there. So I think everybody sorted relatively well. Again, the sportsmanship that you see on display here in the ROK Cup paddock.
Well, they also separated themselves. So I'm not sure if it's sportsmanship or they're just making sure. They're just not talking to each other right now. We'll see. Indeed. But yeah, fantastic job there for Chase Hand. You saw that Jackson referred to him as Joey. I've done that so many times in my life. I don't know if you know Joey very well. I've known Joey since late '90s. Chase reminds me so much of his dad. Oh my! Just the look of him, the inflection in his voice, and again, they're so super close. They race together, they kart together all the time. Great job for Chase. I guarantee his dad very, very proud of it right now. Listen, when you start, DJ, getting the pace you need right now here on a Friday like this, the momentum starts building up, right? They're not the most important heat races, but they are fantastic. He's getting a win. He's getting a pole, for the next race. He's going to. This is not one of the progression races, but he's got to win. He's starting up front. It's when things start going in your direction like that, this is maybe even more than any other motorsport, because in the car racing that you announce and that I announce, they're not on the racetrack near as much as these
No,
guys.
they're not.
They practice. We do a qualifying session and a race or a couple of races. These guys are on the racetrack so many times that every time you're coming back, that confidence builds on top of each other. I just always feel that when you come out of the gate as strongly as Chase has done here and other number of drivers have done, it really continues to build up and will pay off on Sunday. That's what I love about these early days. That's why we like to build the crescendo up because really the excitement builds throughout the entire weekend.
Yeah, it really does. And I think most easily seen here in one of my favorite series, that's ROK Micro. We've got the young kids coming out onto track. This series, by the way, presented by BJR Racing Team. Thank you to them. We are very, very thankful. But here for them, it's Liam Francisco that's going to be up in the front. Jack Katowski in P2. Lennox Lockhart and Dutch Westbrook. Bo Wyatt, Polo Santos, George Ho, Caden Cladera, Braxton Shiflett, and Leandro Ramirez will be your top 10. Looks like we've got a wave off here. I think somebody in out of order a little bit probably.
So let's go a little further through the field.
Yeah.
Alvaro Medeiros, Alvaro Medeiros set to start on the outside, or the inside of row number 11. And then we're going to see a number of other drivers coming through. I tried to give you the lineup, but they just updated on me, so I can't give it to you.
No, okay, never mind. The best laid plans.
The idea was there. Actually, let me see if I can't roll over here to the micro heat race. That'll give me that lineup. Here it is right here. So, yeah, Liam Francisco and Jack Katowski on row number 1. Lennox Lockhart and Axel Tibbs on row 2. Alvaro Medeiros and Chase Ritter, I believe, on row number 4. Bo Wyatt and George Ho. Then we'll have Polo Santos and Caden Cladera alongside Shep Sullivan. Braxton Shiflett and Andres Marcelo Pena. Leandro Ramirez and Trey Sanders on row 8. Max Santana and Tristan Francisco on row 9. These barring any penalties. Ix Garduna alongside Emmett Dalton on row number 10. Alfonso Calva and Liam Ostalos on row number 11. Bernardo Nascimento and Aiden Go, row 12. James Ardonis, Samuel Chiveri, Wiley Lee, Sebastian Barora, Dan Deculescu. I like that. Dan Deculescu, that works. And then Thomas Ardonis. 31 drivers. We're set to go. We have one driver not start, so great field of drivers here in micro. And we always see that, DJ, back and forth. Sometimes the micros will be big, then you'll get a lot of drivers will graduate up to mini, and it'll be packed.
Right.
This is a massive field. I love having this many drivers in the micro category.
No, it's fantastic to be able to see. As now we are going to get a clean start here. Katowski and Tibbs up in your front row, and they are on it, and they are racing. Francisco, up at the front there. He's going to hold off Katowski. Lockhart able to get a good run as well. We've already got one cart spun around there. That's the number 7 machine. Looks like they're going to be able to turn back their way and get going.
Liam Ostalos, we believe, going around there, the number 7 from the 21st position. So sadly, Liam's going to fall back into the tail of the field. We'll have to continue on. Otherwise, yeah, the lead driver is getting nicely into position. No one making big moves here coming through turn number 8 as of yet. As both Jackson and I pointed out, that shade behind the reel will continue to grow throughout the remainder of the day. There's only 2 more races still on the docket. So we have our Shifter Masters and Super Masters up next, followed by SV Pro. So just 2 more races after this one here with the ROK Micro category. But those drivers digging in right now will put the opening lap in the books with Lockhart leading the way over Medeiros, Tibbs, Katowski, and Westbrook.
Trying to see if they can get anything to play. Medeiros just looking for a little bit of a gap. Lockhart doing a great job. We said he got a good jump at the start, and he absolutely put the pedal to the floor. Had a chance to talk to him a couple of times back in the Florida Winter Tour, and just such a great young kid. Really, really heads up. Loves karting.
He does, doesn't he? Liam Francisco started on pole. He's back to 7th, so not a good opening lap for Liam, but the pace is there as we know. He'll put the head down over the distance of this race to see if he can't recover a little bit, working his way forward here. Again, these drivers back on the racetrack tomorrow morning at 9:34 for the warm-up. We have a morning warm-up session tomorrow from about 8:30 through to about 10 o'clock. 10:10 scheduled start time for the round 3 of the heats. Expect us to go live here on the ROK Cup USA YouTube channel, very likely around 10:05 kind of a thing, for a preview show. Then we'll dive right into those races. And of course, heat race number 4, pre-finals, LCQs. Big afternoon coming here at the Rio.
Yeah, it's going to be an exciting afternoon. And this, of course, all leading up to the big event on Sunday when we will have the finals. Big send down to the inside. That's the number 6 cart there of Samuel Chiveri. Really great move there to be able to send that in. I didn't think that move was going to stick, but Samuel absolutely made it stick. So Good heads up there for him.
So the 33 of Dutch Westbrook currently running in that 5th position. Now looking to put the pressure here on Tibbs. Here's the pass to the inside for the 92 of Jack Katowski. I believe going to the inside of the 10 of Madero. So yeah, move Jack Katowski in the Burl Art machine for TKG now up into the 2nd spot, Katowski on the move. A nice pass coming to the inside of turn number 1. Well timed. Was able to get the job done. Now he finds himself with open racetrack with the target on the back of your leader right now, Lennox Lockhart. More battling there between the 45 and the 20. Axel Tibbs and Liam Francisco. Liam still back in 7th spot. DJ having lost a lot of ground on the opening circuit. This is when you want a young driver just to put their head down, pick them off, see if you can't get a couple before the end of the race. You know the pace is there. Just got to get out there and run some good laps.
Yeah, and I like seeing that aggression there as Medeiros tries to fight back on Katowski, give him the same medicine that he got on the previous lap. That's also going to allow for Dutch Westbrook to get a little bit of an opportunity. Opened up the door there for Chase Rittering. Everything coming to play there. Real momentum shifting back and forth in these carts. So Katowski losing that position, Medeiros back up, and then that shuffles everything around.
Yeah, the contact between he and Westbrook opened the door for Chase. He just threw the thing down to the inside and got it through the corner and came out very likely with 4th spot.
Yeah, and he's going to hold on to it, and he's looking pretty strong here to try to close in on the back. Trying to see if there's anything to be had. They're going to come across the stripe and reset here. 2 minutes, 2 laps left to go. Your order, Lockhart, Medeiros, Katowski, Rittering, Westbrook. Your top 5. Tibbs holding on to the back there in 45th. He's a little bit broken away from this pack. He's in that Lando Norris helmet. You're not going to miss him.
Dutch Westbrook with the fastest lap so far, so we'll see if Dutch can get that cart moving forward. Like we said, he almost got the pass done on Jack Katowski, but a little bit of contact coming into turn number 5. Hurt that and allowed Chase Rittering to get by. So now it's Lockhart, Medeiros, Katowski, Rittering, and Westbrook top 5. Then the gap back after that, about 0.8 of a second to Axel Tibbs.
Yeah, and Axel just looks like he's not quite able to close it in. He's about 0.5 of a second off of the best time. Now, I don't know if that was a bad lap for Tibbs or not. Oof. Little bit of front-to-back contact there between Medeiros, Katowski, and Rittering as they all tried to jockey for position coming down into turn 1.
They're definitely closing up, though, on Lennox Lockhart, DJ. They've been doing it a little bit here and there, 10th here, 10th there, over 1/10 of a second on that last lap. So the Medeiros, Katowski, Rittering, Westbrook lineup here, these 4 drivers are definitely starting to cut into the gap here that's held by Lennox Lockhart. So we're not done. There's lots of time still. Very likely 3 more laps, right? They'll probably get 1 more than the 2 lap after this one here when they come back around. Maybe, yeah, they'll likely get 3 more here.
Yeah, I think it will.
Lots of time.
And I think for Medeiros here, who we've seen be very aggressive, this could be music to his eyes. He just knows that he's got to close on in, but there's a move in the back. Rittering, that was
nice.
Pretty.
That was pretty.
That was really pretty.
That was just committing to the inside, seeing it, and kind of all checking up to kind of get into that big, nice, wide run into turn number 1. Boom, down to the inside, rolled it to the inside apex, essentially the first apex to get to the 2nd. That was a great pass.
And there,
right back by.
Right back at him, and almost mirror corners, sending a mirror move.
The gap now 0.4 of a second. Lockhart to Medeiros. He gained another 10th, over another 10th on that last lap. A little wide coming through the turn 11 aspect, though. You get too wide in 11, you got to come back too far for 12. That may hurt him a little bit here as they come across the line with 2 to go. Still made up another 10th of a second. Gap 0.588 now between 1st and 2nd.
All right, here we go. It is game on for these drivers in ROK Micro. Let's see if they can get anything. I'm still keeping my eye on Katowski and Rittering. I think that's where the fight's going to be. We know Katowski likes to send a move. Not going to send it into 8. They're going to stay in line. Maybe a little bit of lap traffic up ahead. I do see a straight card in the distance.
Yeah, we'll see if that plays the role here. 2 laps to go. 1 more when they come back around. So we're talking about 55 seconds worth of racing still left to go in this one because they're going to wrap up the penultimate lap here. They're giving the line, that's the number 7 who went around early on. So that number 7 coming in. Again, that's Liam Ostalis, as we said. He'll pull off when he gets back around, we believe. Look at this stuff here right now. They are still closing on Lockhart. 0.4 of a second. They made up a little over 1/10 on that last lap. final circuit for the drivers here in this micro rock category. One more lap. Can Lennox Lockhart hold them off? Medeiros up on the wheel. Katowski's going to start thinking about himself pretty soon, DJ. He's not going to worry about the lead. He's going to worry about second.
Yeah, he is, and I think there you see Medeiros having to worry about second as well. Big move down to the inside for Katowski. He's signed, sealed, delivered. He gets it done. Big slide there out of the rear from Medeiros. That's going to prevent him from getting an overtake back. Lennox Lockhart crosses the line to take victory. Jack Katowski, Alvaro Medeiros, your top three.
Close at the line, too. But, yeah, that was a fantastic pass there for Jack Katowski. They weren't getting any closer. They weren't going to be able to go after Lockhart. He goes, I need second. And you could even see that Medeiros did a good job coming out of 9, pinched down to the inside. But there was probably just enough room in that dusty part of the racetrack for Katowski to throw it to the inside. Medeiros then changed, moved over to try to get around the outside. There's another incident at the very end of this one. We'll put the number 5 at George O off the racetrack. But, yeah, Katowski able to get down and turned into turn number 10, 11, and 12. We saw that Medeiros almost looped it coming out of turn number 11, got the rear end washing out on it, but nonetheless, great races for both of those guys. Lennox Lockhart coming home with a crucial victory here in heat number 2 for Rock Micro. Katowski, Medeiros second and third, Westbrook in fourth. Chase Rittering for all that action coming home in fifth. Axel Tibbs in sixth. Liam Francisco fell back to seventh and could not move anywhere forward from P7. Aiden Go up 17 spots. We didn't pick up Aiden.
No, we did not.
Starts 25th, came up to 8th. Great job for Aiden. Bo Wyatt and Leandro Ramirez rounding out the top 10. And Samuel Chavari, the driver for PSL Karting, up 15 spots as well. 27th up into 12th. So a couple of drivers making big moves from deep in the field. But there's Lennox Lockhart right there, driver the number 14. Velocity Racing Sody Card. He scores the win in heat race number 2.
Yes, he does. And we are going to head over to a quick commercial break. We'll be back with the Rock Shifter Master and Super Masters coming up right after this.
Rock the Rio is an international event, and all of the biggest teams in the country come out here to race each other.
And I love karting because it's all I've known since age 8.
It's the best sport out there. You know, it's extremely hard to master. You're always learning something. You got to be on your game on all fronts, or you're not running up front.
I became very religious the last couple laps.
Further back, there's contact against the wall.
I'm out of the first turn on the last lap and I smacked the wall. I'll tell you, the last lap was full of emotion and cried like a baby.
So to win Vegas, you just have to be perfect. You not only have to be extremely fast, but you simply cannot make mistakes.
Vegas, if I could win again, means a lot. I have all my family that come out for that race, so when everyone's there, there's a bit more pressure, but it means a lot. It's the Super Bowl of karting.
I think we have a chance at winning, but we are going to have to work at it.
It's still the biggest race that I've ever won as far as the bucket list item.
TSG 5 Star is proud to sponsor Nicholas Bazzani at Rock Vegas. Just like racing takes grit and vision, we bring the finest hardwood, laminate, and vinyl floors to homes and showrooms where excellence is the only option. TSG 5 Star, premium flooring, exceptional service.
27 years ago, Bill Wright began the Florida Winter Tour to break up the slow winter months for karters. And as the word spread, the tour grew. Importers, teams, manufacturers, and drivers alike all came to Florida to prepare for the upcoming season. One weekend became 2, and the fun became serious fun. Since then, the karting season has started with the Florida Winter Tour, where teams compete to establish dominance for the coming summer. Drivers from all over the world look to make their name and leave their mark on the national scene, much like Pato O'Ward, Enzo Fittipaldi, and others have done in Florida Winter Tours of the past. The original Florida Winter Tour, the series that made karting a year-round sport in North America and where tomorrow's superstar drivers are discovered. 27 years later, you can still go karting and have some serious fun. Are you ready to join the action?
Every great race starts with preparation. Every great plan starts with purpose. Daisa Alvarez, financial representative, proud sponsor of Nicholas Bazzani.
Thank you for joining us back here at ROK Vegas for ROK Masters Shifter and the Super Masters category. Ready to get racing here for another standing start. Jackson Lambros has joined us back in the commentary booth. Excited to be able to bring our way through these final two races. Kevin Woods and Morten van Tak starting in the pole positions here. Ryan Coberly, Patrick O'Neill behind them. This is going to be so much fun.
We'll give you some information on why the card of Patrick O'Neill isn't properly decaled in some time once we get going here. But yeah, otherwise the drivers are going to work their way up, get themselves into their grid spots here. Kevin Woods set to start here on the pole position alongside Morten van Tak. Ryan Coberly and Patrick O'Neill will be on row number 2. Hunter Hagenbuck and Corey Matthews on row 3. Sergio Rodriguez and Luis Quinones on row 4. Jesus Lopez and Edgardo Ortiz on row 5. Corey Eberhardt and Chris Salutis on row number 6. 12 drivers set to go in the combined Master and Super Master category. Woods and van Tak on the front row. We're underway.
There it goes. Great getaway there from Kevin Woods. Van Tak trying to hold on as much as he can, and they try to sort themselves out. Everybody cleanly through turns 1 and 2, holding themselves together. But look at that getaway for the 94 of Kevin Woods. He is in his own zip code.
Yeah, that is a whole shot for Kevin Woods and the Ron White Racing CRG, bolting out to a very nice lead. Morten van Tak got off the line pretty well initially. We'll see how they come as they work their way down that short back straightaway here into the turn number 11-12 complex. Great job there. Oh, a little overshoot there for van Tak. Rather for, I believe that's O'Neill potentially. Yeah, it's O'Neill now up into the second spot. He was able to get by van Tak on that last lap, or that first opening lap. But yeah, got a little bit wide coming into turn number 11. Had to get the thing rotated quite a bit. Allowed van Tak in the VTM engines machine, going to get right back on him.
Yeah, right back on them here as they now work their way through 7, down through turn 8. And Van Tak trying to see if there's a little bit of something to play for, but I don't see anything there for him. Pretty single file here. I'm actually watching out for Hunter Hagenbuck to see if there's a move there for the 524 as he looks particularly aggressive onto the back of Van Tak.
Yeah, we had a chance to go over and talk to Patrick O'Neill, who was one of the drivers who told us how much he loves this racetrack. Said it's just so much fun to drive. And I asked him, I said, hey, where are the CRG logos? Where's the decal kit on that car? He even talked to Ron White, and he said, well, he had a flat tire and got to the wall in the practice session, so they had to pull another go-kart out. They haven't put the graphic kit on it yet. And then they were talking about the fact that they had some titanium bars in it that aren't legal, so they had to go back to the regular chromometer steel bars. So they dealt with a bunch of stuff, let's put it that way. And I'll see if we can't go over and see if we can't guilt Ron White to put some new decals on that so the Patrick looks good for the rest of the weekend.
Yeah, you got to look good. I mean, that's half the formula of going fast. All right, Van Tak now looking to try to get an attack here in that bright red helmet. The red and black helmet, obviously Patrick O'Neill in that 64 right up ahead that we were just talking about. This looks to be the primary battle on the circuit. Van Tak also in the black driver's suit, a little easier to distinguish there. As they come down through the flick of 6 and 7, down through turn 8, seeing a lot of patience here from Van Tak, not trying to get an attack too early.
I'm kind of seeing McNeil close up a little bit as well here on Woods. He was faster than that last lap, went purple. Let's see if he backs it up again. 41.43 to a 41.33, so a tenth of a second. He's only 7/10 of a second up. And O'Neill does have open racetrack in terms of not being challenged from the back. Again, another full tenth of a second. Gets it down to just over 6/10. Jackson looking pretty good. Patrick, who was very complimentary about the track when you and I went and talked about Ron White Racing, living it right now.
Well, talking to a lot of guys earlier, I think the smoothness of the surface has surprised a lot of people earlier on. It's not necessarily a billiards table, but it's definitely, compared to some of the surfaces we've had here in this parking lot, in this convention center, surprised a lot of people. So still a physical course, but definitely a little bit easier on the spinal realignment.
It sounds like they put this racetrack down, all of a sudden, the way it worked, they went through all the rough stuff.
Yeah.
Somehow, the topographical map was used to be able to get through the heaves. And there are times when they'll bring the big circus tent in here, and they pound massive holes, of course, to keep the posts down. This parking lot takes a beating every year. ROK Vegas comes here and tries to turn it into a racetrack, and sometimes there's some bumps, sometimes there's not. This particular year, everybody pretty happy.
Yeah, everybody very, very happy, and I think one driver that's particularly happy right now is Morten Van Tak, who was able to take the fastest lap on the last time of asking, getting that gap down further and further to Patrick O'Neill in front of him. Let's see if he can get anything here. This is where he's looked particularly strong, coming out of the final corner, onto the main straightaway. I don't think he's quite close enough to send it in, but remember, in these shifter carts, Rob, this is the area that we've been told, watch turn 10. That's when you can really chuck one of these carts in.
Because you're just going to extend the straightaway. You're really going to harden the brake, but you go all the way over to the apex of turn number 11. The thing right now is that McNeil, they had gotten to within about 3 or 4 tenths of a second. They just lost about 2 tenths on that last lap. A really good run there for Kevin Woods. He goes purple this time, 41.120, and that's kind of leans to, hey, that cart's starting to come in for him right now. Really starting to work for him. Let's see if he bangs another one out here now. If he gets down into a low 41 flat, you know it's going in the right direction. It was a 41.120. This time by 41.80. 080, exactly what I said. Into the 41 flats, that thing's going in the right direction. Even though O'Neill was a couple tenths of a second quicker, it's going in the right direction for Woods.
Yeah, and that's what you want to see. Again, as we talk about it, as it gets into that window, tire pressures come up, as the tire temperatures rise, everything starts cooking a little bit in the way that you want it to be, and that's what we tend to see, and that's what you want to see from these carts. You want to see them get better as this race goes along.
Woods, O'Neill, Van Tak, Hagenbuck, and Matthews, the current top 5. Only one of those drivers in the Masters category. That's Hagenbuck right now. The drivers in the Super Masters category are setting the pace. Woods, O'Neill, and Van Tak, the drivers 45 years of age and older. The Supermaster category, the ROK Cup USA added to the ROK Vegas event here this weekend. Brought a lot of great drivers in, many that we've seen run around the country. And some of the big national programs over the last number of years. Love seeing these names back here on the racetrack at ROK Vegas.
And among our Masters, it's actually the deepest into the field we've seen. Hunter Hagenbuck, 4th overall, but has been able to clear Corey Matthews and Sergio Rodriguez. Again, has that one cart in class, 5th overall. That's a little bit of a cushion between his opposition, Sergio Rodriguez and Luis Quinones. And by the way, those two are battling still in 6th and 7th, just a little bit further back in the grid. So a lot of insurance right now for Hunter in that 524.
DJ Kevin Woods is set a 40.848 just a lap ago. Lap 9 did not go that way. He was the other way direction by 4 tenths of a second. And look what this has delivered. We've got O'Neill and Van Tak back on top of him right now. Top 3 drivers separated by less than half a second.
Yeah, O'Neill is really on him right now. And Van Tak, despite setting the fastest lap the last time of asking, just doesn't quite seem like he's got the closing speed here. And I think it is definitely a battle between O'Neill and Woods. So there they come out of the final corner, going to put onto the loud pedal. Woods gets a good line out of that final corner. It's going to keep him at bay for the moment, keep O'Neill at bay. But I think if there is the merest of mistake here, again from Kevin Woods, and now it comes back, then Morten Van Tak is right back into it.
O'Neill did not get through turn 1 at all. Got way too deep in the corner. You can see him close up and then push by the apex. He lost a lot of exit in that corner.
Yeah, but now Van Tak certainly on the attack, trying to see if he can get anything. Not the best one. That's what we're really seeing here, is that we're seeing the leading driver, frankly, get a better run off of the corner, and that's kind of preventing any overtakes from this leading group.
We are counting it down to very likely having 3 laps to go when they come back around, so likely 4 laps in the books again. Misses the corner there. You can see Patrick O'Neill just doesn't get it down to the apex there, trying to dive in the corner. It just did not work for him coming out. That's allowed Kevin Woods to have a ton of open track here right now.
Yeah, Woods doing a really good job, though, of just hitting his marks, not being affected by those drivers behind him. He knows that O'Neill and Van Tak are behind him. He knows that they're ready to pounce, but he's not letting it affect him. We haven't seen him drive defensively yet. We haven't seen him take an alternate line. He is just driving his own race.
Right now, to be honest, let's be real. Patrick O'Neill getting challenged by Morn Van Tak. He stays right with him there, and on occasion been right on the rear bumper. To the point where you know Patrick starts hearing that edge and he knows he's shifting. A little defensive run into that corner there for O'Neill. Last time by was quicker by about a tenth of a second as well. It's just been so back and forth. Nobody here with really a ton of consistency right now.
No, and I wonder if that's maybe a little bit of long run pace coming into play, that they need to tune those karts a little bit better, or if they're just running ragged.
Well, possibility they're running ragged a little bit, but also you put your heart. Oh, there's an issue there. Oh, a missed shift, I think, for Kevin Woods, and O'Neill was on top of him.
White flag in the air. Does O'Neill have enough to be able to send it down into turn one? No, the answer is no. They're still going to stay equidistant as they come down into turn 5, and now it's Van Tak on the attack here on the back of Patrick O'Neill.
This is an accordion that goes back and forth. One time it's O'Neill battling Woods. Next he's having to hold off from Morn Van Tak. Right now a little bit of an advantage here for Kevin Woods as he's got himself a couple of tenths of a second, maybe 3, coming down the back straightaway. Unless he has another issue here coming through, this should be his race. Clean out of 11 through 12. This one belongs to Kevin Woods.
Yes, it does. Controlled it from the very downbeat. It is Woods, O'Neill, and Van Tak. A good run for them. And Hunter Hagenbook, another great run there in that Masters category. As we said, Corey Matthews going to round out your top 5 as they cross over the line, Jackson.
Getting a little bit closer, further back. This is our drag race to the line there from Quinones and Rodriguez. Getting a little bit closer as well with Ortiz and Lopez rounding out your top 10. Here comes Ryan Coberly in that red speed machine with Chris Soliotis and Corey Aberhart rounding out our field of 10. But again, you look at that top 3, fellas. We're going to be going back and forth all weekend long, it feels like. But it's time for us to put the shifters away and take our sights over to the big one.
Let's give a thank you for our sponsors of that category. We didn't do that at the top of the show there. Speed Concepts Racing sponsoring the Shifter Master category. VTM Engines, the sponsor of the Super Masters class. But indeed, pack away the 6 speeds. Time to get back at it. One more race to go. DJ, it's just ROK SV Pro to cap off the day, to cap off the second round of heat races.
And what is this, 40, 50 karts out on this track? I mean, get ready, because it is going to be fast, furious, and frenetic, I think are the only ways you can describe this. Going to be very, very fun to be able to see. And again, this is the series that we do the motor swap with, that it goes into a motor lottery ostensibly. You change those over, you do a raffle to see what it is, so that's equal across all different cars, all different karts, that you don't know what you're going to get. So there's no special tuning and there's no way to get around it.
Yeah, and essentially the stock package, right? Coming right out of Vortex for this ROK program. Everybody gets another motor. Whatever you had today, you're probably that's happened for Jake Drew, but you're very likely not going to have that the next day. I love that. The parity is there for all the drivers. You're not going to complain about the engines. You just got to go to work, dial in the driver, and dial in the chassis.
Well, hey, let's talk about this, because Jake Drew, clearly the guy to beat right now, fastest in qualifying, really, really dominant lead in Heat 1, has not touched the kart setup-wise since Wednesday. And we were talking about this a little bit earlier, Rob. What is that management going to be like, do you reckon, for that GFC driver coming to Heat 1? If he works his way out in front, he's got the opportunity to have that clean air in front of his nose, maybe conserve just a little bit on those Levantos.
Well, that's one of the things he talked about a little bit, was tire degradation, that he would probably save his tires. If he's going to get challenged, guys, he's still going to be up on the throttle 100%. Let's not worry about that. But if he gets a 2-second gap, he'll try to maintain that. Maybe take it a little easy, not going to push those tires a little bit too much. But I have to believe they would have made some kind of change. A full afternoon of rubber on from what he did earlier today. When were they on the racetrack? 1 o'clock, high heat of the day. It was 80 degrees. 63 degrees on my watch right now. It's 17, 18 degree drop. You've got to change something. maybe just tire pressure. Maybe that's all you've done is bump the tire pressure up a little bit, knowing it's going to be a little cooler.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly not a bad idea to change things around like that. And I think if you're happy with the kart, you don't need to take a big swing at it, like you said.
Maybe just tire pressure.
Yeah, I think that's a really, really good call. But yeah, Jake Drew, definitely the one to watch out for. Who else you got your eye on, Jackson?
Oh, man. There is genuinely too many. Paulie Massimino, it feels like we're still trying to see him unlock something. We know Ryan Norberg's been hard at work. I think he's kind of lodged himself pretty deep into this field. We talked to him a little bit during the lunch break, and no, he's still trying to find something else there and maybe go a different direction in his setup. But I think, we are going to have a pretty stagnant front field. It's a really big question of that mid-pack because we've got some really big names outside of the top 10 that are trying to throw themselves right back into this picture, guys.
Yeah, I think you look at a Frankie Mossman as well. I think he's really comfortable with what he's got. Ryan moved his way from 30th, had some trouble in qualifying, got checked up a couple of times. Was moved up to 15th, though, so he's going to start, I believe, in the 15th position. That's a good spot for him. He'll be able to attack from there, all thinking about what's going to happen on Sunday. But again, Jake Drew, Caden McQueen for Velocity Racing on that Sodi kart machine. Zavaglio, we know, was very strong up front. You look at those guys we talked about earlier who may be able to get themselves back into the fight. Massimino, Nash, these are just the guys that we watch on a regular basis being up front. So, indeed, we'll see how it all plays out. Jake Drew starting alongside Caden McQueen on row number 1, Gianluca Zavaglio and Dean Peterson on row 2. We'll have Gianmatteo Rosso alongside Frankie Mossman on row 3, Turner Brown and Diego Ramos on row number 4. Daniel Perez and Naomi Garcia on row 5. Massimino alongside Blake Nash on row 6. Andrew Hamill and Ryan Norberg, row 7. And there you have essentially your front-running 14 drivers. A little bit further back, you look at the Chase Hands, who's just going to win. He's starting 22nd. He's right there with Austin Elliott. Alexander Vanchev, guys, all the way back at 24th. Caleb Gaffera, 25th. These are guys that we normally talk about running up front at races with a stacked SV Pro category. Deep in the field with work to do.
Thank you to Nash Motorsports, by the way, for sponsoring this race. There we go. We are racing for the final heat of the day. Caden McQueen going to maybe get a little bit of a jump there on Jake Drew, but I think Drew was able to hold him off. Whoa, big kart up into the air and off into the barriers into turn 1 and 2.
Yeah, the 345 making contact there, coming
Levi
into the
Segura.
corner there. Yeah, Segura. And that was from, where were we there? We were from 27th, so right mid-pack there as Segura. Just a little contact up in the air. Everybody else trying to cover off the bottom of turn number 8.
Yeah, and a lot of slip and slide in there as these Levantes come up to temperature. Jackson, what you got?
Looked like another issue for one of the red speeds. It looks like one of the Sodis on the move as well. I believe Dean Peterson in the 321 trying to lead this freight train. There is the 305 red speed we were just talking about.
That's Andrew Hamill.
Oh, boy.
Oh, from the top 12.
So unfortunately, someone who really had something figured out early on will have to get back to work and try and make something happen tomorrow. But how about this? Jake Drew already out like a cannon and another one down. That's one of the Orsolons.
That's the 322 of Nicholas Landy.
So already 1 lap down and 3 away. One of the RPG karts on the move. Turner Brown putting back Diego Ramos.
Yeah, I'll tell you, we've got a lot of aggressive racing up front right now, but what everybody did not want to see, and that was open racetrack for the shoe, Jake Drew. Already out in the lead, got a handful of kart lengths, call it maybe 6 or 7. That is big. Open racetrack for him, able to handle this track. You see a lot more shade. Jackson, you and I both mentioned that earlier today. Temperature down probably about at least 18 degrees from what it was in the high heat of the day. So cooler temp. We've got the shade. This is going to be calling for definitely a higher tire pressure and definitely a challenge for these drivers here. Coming to turn number 8, you're going to get a good look at the lead for Jake Drew over the Sodi kart driver, Caden McQueen. Out onto the back straightaway now. Everybody dialing in. You can see all those chasing Drew.
And let's see here if anybody decides to have a little bit of a poke into turn 10. Doesn't look like it. McQueen there. It looks like Zavaglio. I see another yellow flag being waved. Somebody else out of the cart here. I can't get an ID
on
that tag.
Yeah, one of the ITAR carts.
Couldn't tell who it was exactly, but we'll see if we can get you that information a little bit down the road.
Eric Hermanson, I believe.
All right, thank you, Rob. Oh, a little bit of side-by-side battling going on. Going to have to abate a little bit there for those waved yellow flags. Not going to be a problem for Jake Drew, who continues to hold a nearly 9/10 advantage on the rest of this field.
This guy is a talented young driver. Watch him, of course, do a bunch of K&N racing as well. Really excelled, of course, at the road course events and got a chance to do that for a little bit of time. Ran out of budget there, but really one of the most talented drivers we've seen. Second-generation driver as well. His father, Jeremy Drew, did a lot of racing back in the ICAP Region 7 days, the Super Series days, and running the KT 100 and the like. And great to see Jake getting the job done here. Frankie Mossman up a couple spots too, guys. He's into the 3rd spot. Who else is moving up here? +3 for Massimino, +6 for Steven Iser. He's been able to work his way up from 19th into the 13th spot.
Want to give huge props here to Alexander Vanchef, to the surprise of nobody, moving and grooving up his way through the field. He's up 4. Davin Roberts up 11.
Yeah, big for Davin. Another driver off.
That was the 360. That's going to be Naomi Garcia.
Oh no, one of our top 10 drivers.
Yeah. She was running 12th, but was starting in the top 10. Naomi Garcia on the Speed Concepts racing machine out of this one. And guys, listen, it's tougher conditions right now.
Yeah.
First and foremost, grip levels are down for what they ran when they raced back at 1 o'clock this afternoon. The temps are going down, the shadow's there, but everybody's also up on the wheel. Man, they're getting. We're not seeing it happening. We're seeing them in the wall, right? We're not seeing the actual contact itself, but you know these guys are being super aggressive out here.
Yeah, they really, really are. I think this leading pack is a little bit calmer because they're in a position where they feel they don't need to be aggressive, but I think if you're from about 12th on back, as you said, Rob, it is all up on the wheel and all attack.
Yeah, Ryan Norbert's still back in the 14th spot. Chase Gambron's 15th, Austin Elliott 16th. Vanchez 18th position. A lot of guys we thought would be a lot further forward, deep in the field right now. And again, if they complain about the motor, bolt a new one on tomorrow because we're going to do the raffle at the end of the day and you can come right on back.
And guys, all of a sudden for a purple lap, you got to look all the way back to Alexander Vanchev in 18th. I'm also not sure how he got all the way down there. Was looking very strong earlier on, but still clearly has some pace in that Rollison Performance Group machine. But all of a sudden, you got to ask, is there some conservation going on from Jake Drew? We saw a couple purple laps from Caden McQueen a little bit earlier on as well. So maybe Caden McQueen and Frankie Mossman trying to mount a comeback here.
We'll keep an eye on that, Jax. He did turn his fast lap of 41.084, did it again. But he's not the fastest driver on the racetrack, right? He's got an 0.8 of a second lead. Doesn't need to be the fastest driver, especially when you have to go back to Dean Peterson. I mean, it's only if it's McQueen he has to be super worried about here.
One of the RPGs off the line. I believe that's Turner Brown trying to work his way through. Diego Ramos just coming into view as well, but that was significantly offline there for the 386. Turner Brown getting a lick of the barrier.
Had a look there at Giammatteo Rousseau as well on the number 379, battling it out with Diego Ramos and Blake Nash. That's 7th, 8th, and 9th, those drivers there. Working their way through turn number 11, 12, and now 13.
All right, as we check back in, flying through turn 1 right now. Just trying to find as much space as they can here. I think when we get to the final for this race, we've really got to worry about lap traffic. That's going to be a story by the time we get to it.
And you don't normally talk about that, DJ, but with a 41 second lap, yeah, there's going to be guys that are going to get involved in incidents, checked up, and they're going to keep running. I would expect they'll put the flag out for guys to come into the scale line when it's all said and done. More contact, another yellow, and that's potential. Is that Massimino?
It might be.
It is. I think that's Massimino potentially off the racetrack there. Where was he running?
He was.
He worked his way into the top 10, I believe.
Oh,
Rob.
yeah, I think you're right. Holy boneyard! We are dropping these guys off left and right. Some major players, top 10 drivers, out of the race. Tough one there for Paulie Massimino. That is going to move, though, guys up the order. He was running 14th. Valiente up into 14th. Elliott 15th. Hand 16th. Ryan Norberg finally up into the 12th spot. Here's a good scrap here. That's that Rousseau battle. Giammatteo Rousseau makes a move. Book it in the inside of turn number 8. He gets by Diego Ramos.
That's a great move for Rousseau. He's going to try to hold on to it now. Maybe slip away off into the distance.
And DJ, that's Turner Brown right with him.
Yeah, look at Brown moving his way forward, trying to get his way ahead. Turner Brown, good heads up to try to get that on through. Brown now putting pressure to the back of Rousseau. Is he going to send a little bit of a move? Slight defensive line there for Rousseau, just not able to quite get it.
Brown, another one of those great young junior drivers making his move up here into the senior category this afternoon. He's won big races here in Las Vegas as well. Brown now up into 8th. Good battle there. That's Brown, in fact, making a move on Ramos. Following in the footsteps of Rousseau, right where they got the job done. Over in turn number 8, move Turner Brown, and now up into the 7th spot as he follows along with Gia Mateo Rosso. It's Drew, McQueen, Mossman, Peterson, and Savaglio, your top 5 right now, DJ, and we're coming around to 3 laps to go.
Yeah, and check that gap between Caden McQueen and Jake Drew. McQueen keeps putting in purple laps, and it's down to about 4.5 tenths of a second. I don't think it's going to be enough to close it in, but that's the first break in the armor that we've seen for Jake Drew.
And Drew's running consistent 40.9. So he ran a 40.97 on lap 9, 40.98 on lap 11. So he's got that spot. But yeah, let's pick up on those leaders right now. With 3 laps to go, does Caden McQueen have what it takes to potentially reel in Jake Drew? He told us that if he had the gap, Jackson, that he would take care of the tires. Maybe I could be good with it. I got a feeling now it's go time. You don't want to take care of the tires too much, but man, you got another heat race still to come.
Absolutely, but you feel like maybe there was some conservation earlier, and maybe now we see Caden McQueen starting to go full military power, trying to close that gap. I'll tell you what, fellas, this is closer than we have seen these two all night long, and Caden McQueen looking to the inside. Drew defending for the first time there, going into turn number 8.
Yeah, McQueen up on it for sure. Drew's going to go the half distance to the inside. You can see they'll work their way down into the corner. This is the fight further back with Mossman, Peterson, and Savaglio. We're going to see the white flag when they come back around here. Can Jake Drew hold off a charging Caden McQueen? Little half cover down to the bottom of the corner. Same goes further back there as Mossman having to defend on both Peterson and Savaglio. Savaglio's been able to go by to P4, moving Peterson back. There's been contact coming into turn number 5. Potentially a bump and run. Peterson takes that spot away from Savaglio as he's able to pick it up. DJ, here comes the battle here. Drew versus McQueen.
McQueen trying to sweep around the outside, looks for the crossover coming down into 9. Oh, we all just flinched in the booth as that came through. Now Caden McQueen looks to the outside of turn 10, tries to get it to play. It's not going to do it, and Jake Drew, it looks like, is going to be able to hold on to victory, but it was not nearly as straightforward as it was earlier today, and just by the merest milliseconds was he able to hold on to it. Mossman, Peterson, Savaglio, and Rousseau, your top 6.
Oh, that's the kind of last lap you like. A little precursor of what we could see on Sunday. McQueen with big pace. Fast lap coming on lap number 11 of 40.836. Put a bunch of pressure on. Was about 600ths of a second faster on the last lap. Drew went on defensive mode a little bit. Able to hold them off. They were almost side by side coming out of turn number 8 over to the turn 9 right-left flick. But Drew gets the win. McQueen second. Mossman able to hold them off as Savaglio got super aggressive on him. Peterson able to take advantage. He's able to get back through. So Mossman third, Peterson fourth, Savaglio fifth. Rousseau ends up 6th, Turner Brown 7th, Diego Ramos, Jesus Vasquez Jr., and Blake Nash round out the top 10. Plus 13 for Alexander Vanchev, 24th up into 11th. 13 spots up for Caleb Gaffera, started 26th. He goes up into 13th. Other big movers are guys like Davin Roberts, plus 17, plus 14 for Nathan Dupuis, plus 22 for Marcella Tortado, and plus 23 for Keegan Kaminsky. He split the difference, started 46th, ended up 23rd.
Fantastic race, fantastic run, and once again, Jackson Lambros is caught up with our race winner.
And I'll tell you what, Caden McQueen just joked, pointing at the GFC at Jake Drew, saying that thing is strong, and you're clearly flexing that muscle right now. It was getting close there in the final laps. Talk to me about that battle with the Sodi behind you.
Yeah, Caden's a great driver. We got a lot of respect for each other so far, so that's been nice. He's definitely closing the gap, making it tricky and making it a little bit stressful, but I still feel pretty strong with my package. I think there's a couple things that we can do to it and make it a little bit better. Obviously, 2 wins in the first 2 heats. That's a great start. 2 more to go. They just need some solid finishes and start up front for the final and hope for the best.
Obviously, not a lot of changes you've made to this chassis since the start of the week. Is this the time you maybe start considering it?
Sure. I mean, I think everybody makes little tweaks here and there. Maybe we'll try something for the morning, see how it goes in the warm-up, but not going to go too far from where we're at. It's been pretty good for the last couple days, so keeping it that way.
Appreciate it, Jake.
Thank you.
And just like that, guys, Jake Drew is 2 for 2.
With a little rhyming action is our very own Jackson Lambros. But yeah, Jake Drew 2 for 2, an absolutely stellar run to everything. What a crazy race, Rob.
Well, we expected Jake Drew to be the guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he did that. He was able to pull away. A couple of tweaks, as we said. I'm sure he went up on tire pressure or whatever it may be for the different temperature. But Cade McQueen coming up like that, food for thought. Well, he is coming up pretty strong. Maybe we'll make a change. And listen, warm up tomorrow morning isn't just about getting the kids out of bed and get them on the track and clearing out the cobwebs of a morning. You're able to use that warm up to maybe make a change as well, right? And it's because it's not going to be that cold in the morning, it's going to be useful. It's not like it's going to be 45 degrees and you won't use that in the race. You can learn something in that warm-up, and I think that's what you're going to see out of that team. The Formula Works team will dial something in for Jake Drew.
I think you're completely right about that. Well, race fans, we want to thank you for joining us on a very full day of racing action. We're going to be back with you tomorrow. You heard us say it at about 10 o'clock, 10:05, there or thereabouts, as we get set and ready to go back racing for another day of heat races as well as the final heats, the pre-finals, before we get ready for the finals that will be coming at you Sunday. So on behalf of myself, DJ Clark, Rob Howden, and Jackson Lambros, it has been an absolute pleasure to bring you the coverage here for Rock Vegas. We'll see you tomorrow morning.